Broncos country, Denver sports fans, Nuggets nation, Avs territory, whatever y'all want to call it, man. It's your boy Mark here. Marcky Sports, we are live. This is my first ever open mic night. I was just, like I said to y'all before, the the lady's been out of town. She's on a bachelorette party. She comes back tomorrow. And I've just been chilling. I've been having a lot of free time on my hands. So I really just wanted to come live, talk to y'all, see how things are going, talk about really whatever topic, whatever questions you guys have, anything that you wanted to discuss, talk about related to Denver sports or anything really abroad. I mean, I thought tonight's Duke and Houston game was crazy. It was wild, man. It was very, very wild. And it was one of those things where I was really rooting for Houston. My bracket is actually ridiculous, dude. So I'm ranked currently 463,000th, 131st place, but it's top 1 percentile. I got 97.9% of my bracket correct. I have Florida winning, but I did have Florida and Houston in the finals. I had 7 of 8 Elite 8 players, teams correct. I had 3 of the 4 in the Final Four, and I got both of the championship game guys correct. So it's pretty crazy. It's one of those things where, like, I don't watch college basketball, and I always seem to do well. But then I watch a lot of football. Obviously, I watch a lot of basketball. I watch a lot of hockey, and I can never win a bet for the life of me. So that's kind of how life works. So that's what it is. But my man Endoplasmic, man, coming through. How you doing, brother? Yeah, 1,000 subscribers soon. Absolutely. I'm super excited, man. I'm like, I think 50 away at this point. So would love to get you guys on board, man. If you could sub to the channel, help me get my goal of 1,000 subscribers before the draft. It would mean the world to me. It really, really would. I started this channel, man, just as a hobby, as something that I can kind of keep as like a personalized journal in a way. But it's grown to be a wonderful platform, a great hobby, something I've really enjoyed. And I've built a really great community, man. Like, I haven't really built the community, but I've gotten introduced to a wonderful community of people and friends that I chat with in the Discord, that I'll collaborate with together on the platform. And it's been awesome. It's been really, really fun, man. I've enjoyed every single minute. Andy coming through, man. Andy, one of the guys that I'm talking about that I've met in the Discord. He's been awesome. I've never met him in person. I've never spoken to him in real life, but I feel like I've known him for a long, long time. He's been awesome. Great draft content. One of the best draft minds and smartest scout minds that I've ever come across. So check out his stuff. But he's coming through. And he's saying he wanted to ask my thoughts on Captain Missouri MPJ and how he's constantly ruining my life every single day. Yeah, man, MPJ is a very frustrating player, to be honest with you, because he's one of those guys that he's got an unbelievable amount of talent, and unfortunately, the Nuggets are very, very reliant on him. I mean, way too reliant in 2 ways. One, they pay him a shitload of money, obviously, with the max contract that he signed, so they're kind of stuck with him. And he doesn't really have a lot of trade value. And then on the other part is he's really the only guy on our team that is considered a three-point shooter that you can rely on to make threes. And it's never like, oh, yeah, he's, up and down during a game. He's either very, very good at hitting threes or he's very bad. Sorry, I had to yell at my dog. He was being annoying. So He's very frustrating. He's probably one of the worst moves that the Nuggets made that nobody really talks about. I know a lot of guys want to talk about, like, oh, our bench is bad, or we let a lot of these bench players go and we haven't been able, we paid all the money to Zeke Naji, which was another terrible decision. But, betting on MPJ was way too risky of a move at the time. You didn't even have to do it. You could have really waited it out. He finally got healthy after, his first couple of years. He's coming off the back surgery. And he's a big frustration, man. He is. I will say he's gotten significantly better when it comes to his defense. He's gotten a lot more consistent defensively. And when he's locked in, I like that, because I feel like at least he's helping out on both ends of the floor. But man, he pisses me off. He pisses me off so much. He's such a frustrating player. And he's such he's a one-trick pony. He's just a three-point shooter. That's it. If he doesn't do that, he's not really going to help your team that much. So, yeah, MPJ is ruining my life too, man. He's driving me a little bit nuts. So, I don't know if you agree with that, and I hope you do, but that's kind of my thoughts on him. The Nuggets are in a really annoying kind of purgatory-like state right now. I just really hope that they're not truly wasting the prime of the greatest basketball player on earth and Nikola Jokic. But it seems like it's kind of trending towards that path. So we'll see what the offseason does. Hopefully we get a new GM and we can kind of revamp this roster a little bit and make some moves that would make some sense. But you never know, man. Anytime you enter the playoffs, if you're healthy and you have the best player in the world in a 7-game series, man, you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. I am going to go with this one first because it's funny. Endoplasmic coming through and saying, what is the meaning of life? Man, that's a tough question, bro. That's a tough question. I think for me, the meaning of life is, like I say when I sign off on every video, it's spending time doing things that you love the most. It's spending time with those that you love the most. And I think the key to happiness, for what it's worth, this is Marcky Sports Therapy, is always have something in your life to look forward to. Always. As long as you have something to look forward to, that's the key to happiness. And that is the key to feeling good and being in a good mood. So, but what's the meaning of life? That could be a 10-hour podcast, man. That's a tough question. Andy coming through now to my language. And this is my language too, man. Broncos had a 30 visit with Luther Burden this week. How would you feel if he was the pick at number 20? It's a great question, man. It's a really good question. I love Luther Burden. I've loved Luther Burden since the end of last year when he was really tearing it up in Missouri. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's dynamic, man. He's fun to watch. My problem is I don't know if I'm really a fan of how I envision the fit with Denver being. Because, and Andy, you know a lot better than this, man, so feel free to give your thoughts here on the comments, but I feel like he's not the most polished receiver, the most polished route runner. He's just kind of a playmaker. Kind of reminds me of a bigger version of Marvin Mims. So I think what the Broncos need right now is somebody like Emeka Egbuka. Obviously, that can play. That can be an X. That can be a slot. That can play the Z. He can block his ass off. He can catch those crazy catches across the middle. Talking about that internal triangle type of thing that Sean Payton was talking about. A team leader, team captain. Maybe Burden can do that, but I don't know if he's that kind of a player. I just don't know enough about his receiving skill set. And I think a lot of it is because of what he did or didn't really do in his time in Missouri. They used him in so many different ways. They leaned on him so much to be a dynamic player. But listen, I wouldn't be that fired up about it. But I wouldn't be mad about it. I'd be really intrigued by bringing him in. I look at it like this, man. Like for example, I'm not really high on Ted McMillan either because of all the stuff that came out about his attitude and obviously that video. Even though he was a freshman, that video still kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then you hear the stories and you see the film on how he kind of quit against Travis Hunter. My thing is this though, like if he ended up falling and the Broncos took him at 20, immediately I'd say to myself, well, if my concern was like an attitude or a lack of loving football, and Sean Payton decided that he still wanted to draft him, then all that other stuff would go by the wayside because I know that's the most important thing for Sean Payton, and they obviously did their homework and they looked into it, and it was overblown, which it very well could be. So same kind of thing here with Luther Burden. I feel like it would be one of those where, man, Sean Payton, George Payton, they got a vision for this guy. They obviously saw something that they really liked, especially if a more polished receiver like Emeka Egbuka or Jaden Higgins were available, then I would say, you know what, we got to trust it, but I wouldn't be the biggest fan of it, to be honest with you. And just like, it's like you said, to me, he seems like a guy Sean Payton could develop, get super, super creative with. There is overlap with Mims, but solely looking at Burden, he'd be a great fit in a Payton offense, in my opinion. And, man, I'll take your word for it for sure, more than anybody. I mean, just because of the amount of film I know that you watch and how many years you've been doing this for. And, I mean, I think so, too. I think the creativity could certainly be there. But I feel like this Denver offense needs to have a bona fide polished, clear number 2 receiver, or somebody that can be that second guy instead of trying to fill some gaps with like, certain things Vele can do, certain things Franklin can do, certain things Mims can do. It's like find the guy that you can just keep out there and ball out and have a really good trio alongside Sutton and Ingram with. But man, I'll tell you what, Luther Burden is fun. He is coming in on a 30-day visit. And that actually brings me, I'm glad that you brought that up because I had this pulled up looking at the visits here. And it was really, really interesting to me, actually. Let me take this down. Oops. What the hell, bro? There you go. All right. So, whoop, come on. There you go. Close this thing out. So these are all the top 30 visits that we brought in so far. And I don't know how much to look into top 30 visits when it comes to the Broncos because you look at last year's list and then you ultimately look at how many of the guys that they took. And there was not really much of a correlation. But the interesting one was this one right here, man. Andres Borregales from Miami. Kicker. And I tried to tell y'all, I don't know when I said it. It was in one of my videos. I wouldn't be so sure that Will Lutz's job is safe. I wouldn't be so sure that he's not going to be the kicker this upcoming season, even though he's been very, very good. Let's not forget, it was Darren Rizzi that was a part of the decision to get rid of him and trade him to Denver a couple seasons ago. Mike Liss came out, said, they had a conversation, and he said, he quoted, "All is good." But that's a really weird thing to put out. Like, I don't think anybody was really worried about, Will Lutz and Darren Rizzi's relationship, and we didn't really question if they talked. So it was strange. It kind of perked my ears up a little bit, perked them up more than they're already perked. So that was an interesting one. But, it's crazy because they really bring in a lot of these guys. And I think to myself, what are they bringing them in for, right? I mean, what are you having these visits for? Now, obviously, this is like they got all-star games, combine, pro day, top 30 visits. So in terms of Borregales or whatever his name was, what happened here? Why can't I go back over? God damn it. Hold up. Oh, there it is. So, like Borregales, the kicker, and they brought in 2 punters. Look at that. But they met with him at one of the All-Star games. They met with 2 of the punters here. One of them, did they bring it for a top 30? No, workout and then a pro day. So when you're looking at strictly the top 30 visits so far, the guys that have been brought in were Caleb Johnson, were DJ Giddens, Cam Miller. That one was really surprising to me. That seems like it could be the Taysom Hill guy that they brought in. Trey Wettig, really interesting guard center prospect there, interior guy from Indiana. Kaleki Latu. I think that's the first time I've actually heard of him. Crazy enough. And I've done a lot of work on tight ends. But that's the first time I've actually heard of Kaleki Latu. Interesting. And then who else did they bring in? Quinshawn, my guy. Bryson Green, Wisconsin. Yeah. Jaden Blue. Interesting. Nash Jones. Yeah, so always a good mix of like UDFA guys, D3 day 3 guys, and then some guys that could be in the first and second round. So Andy says, I still feel like my ideal pick is Colston Loveland at 20. He's a perfect Y tight end complement to Ingram in the slot. I could not agree with you more, to be honest with you, man. I think it's one of those things. Draft season is very weird, and I really notice it the most this year because obviously I've been paying a lot more attention to it just with the channel. But it's like, it's like it totally comes in waves, right? It's like there were prospects that immediately off the bat I loved. Like right when it started, I wanted Tyler Warren more than anybody. I wanted Colston Loveland, and I was really high on Luther Burden initially, right? And then you start to, dive into the film. You start to see a lot of the mock drafts, and you start constantly seeing like one guy being mocked to your team. So you kind of get over it. You're like, I want to start looking at somebody else because it kind of becomes boring. Like I'm there right now with Omarion Hampton. I was there with Colston Loveland for a long time, but he's phenomenal, man. He would be a great fit. I do not think that just because we got Evan Ingram, we should ignore that position. The tight end room is still very bad. And if Evan Ingram goes down, he gets hurt, you're just back to square one. And that square one is really bad. And it is impossible to find stopgap players middle of the season for tight ends. For running back, not so much. You see it all the time, man. The last decent rusher that we had, running back that came in and actually like looked good and was productive, was Latavius Murray. We brought that dude in the middle of the year. So you can always find running backs that can be halfway productive for you. But if if your tight end room gets thin, unless somebody all of a sudden becomes available at the trade deadline, you're screwed. So why not have the more the merrier? I couldn't agree. I think he's a perfect fit as well. He's a great compliment. And people really don't realize just how solid of a blocker Colson Loveland is. I mean, you kind of have to be coming from Michigan, but he's pretty good there, man. And he's only going to get better. He's only going to get stronger. I really wish that we would have had the opportunity to see him work out, but if Broncos country really wants him, it's probably a blessing in disguise because the fact that he had the shoulder surgery and he didn't work out, maybe that's going to help allow for him to be available at 20. But I find it hard to believe that he's going to be there for whatever reason, just because I really feel like he's a hyped up prospect. I think for me, my number one pick, my ideal pick, realistically, is Emeka Egbuka, man. I'm just all in, man. I can't even describe it in any other way. I think Emeka Egbuka is just such a dynamic player. To me, he projects to be the kind of wide receiver that we need, right? I don't think our wide receiver room is terrible. I like the intrigue. I like the youth. I like some of I like the ceiling that it has overall. But we're missing that guy that you could just rely upon. That's going to be tough. That's going to be, be able to separate right off of the bat, block his ass off like an Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he reminds me a lot of that. And I think he's a lot more dynamic than people think. I mean, he tested really well too. So I like Emeka Egbuka. Big fan of his. And also, I'm getting there with Jaden Higgins. Like I'm almost there to the same level with Jaden Higgins because Jaden Higgins, to me, looks like somebody that Sean Payton would love. He's a big receiver. He's very good on the outside. He can separate. And he can, not only will he be a really good complement to Courtland Sutton, but whatever ends up happening with that contract situation, he can also be a very good replacement for him. So from a roster management standpoint, he might even make more sense than Emeka Egbuka. But I love Emeka Egbuka, bro. I think he's awesome. So I couldn't agree more. Loveland is a top 10 prospect for me, and I've always thought that he's closer to Warren than many think. Yeah, I would agree. I think with Tyler Warren, you get a little bit, it's like everything that Loveland can do, Warren can do like a little bit better, but it's not really that big of a gap. And then obviously I think, Warren, he threw for a touchdown or he's thrown some touchdowns and all that kind of stuff. So that versatility makes people take him over the top. But yeah, Colson Loveland is damn good, man. He is right there. And Kodiak, man, be sure to check out Kodiak's channel. He's putting up some awesome content every single day. And he had a great video. I actually just finished watching it like 30 minutes before I went live with y'all about Derek Harmon. And yeah, I mean, let me tell you something about Derek Harmon. This dude is just like, he's one of those guys, you watch him and you're like, oh, who the hell is he? Like, who the hell is that dude? And it's funny because I got onto the Derek Harmon radar when I was watching Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. And then I started watching, I was watching through the tape, and then I saw the Oregon games. I think there was 2 of them last year. And I was like, bro, this 55 dude is just balling. Who the hell is he? And then I ended up looking into him, and I'm like, oh, he's a really highly touted prospect. So then I ended up looking into him. He's just relentless. And you look at him, and you're like, dude, there's still like a lot there. Like, he can still get so much better. And I think he's a phenomenal fit. Like, between him and Kenneth Grant, and I like both guys, but for the Broncos, Harmon makes even more sense because we play a really aggressive style of defense. You're going to be able to put him anywhere. I think he gives you more pass rushing upside. Not as good against the run as Kenneth Grant is, but I really like what Harmon can do because he could, like I said, he could just play everywhere, man. Dude is violent. And he's a hell of an athlete. And he tested really like ridiculously well too. I mean, he killed it at the combine. So I would like him. There's a lot of guys, like there's really a lot more picks that I can think of in my head that I would be fine with than that I would like absolutely hate. Like there's not really a lot of picks that I would really hate for the Broncos. Like I'm a big fan of, I think we need to address and get like some sort of a developmental tackle. I think we can use more depth in the secondary, specifically at corner, but like middle rounds. But like if we ended up getting a tackle in the first round, which is not that crazy to think about, or like a corner, which I don't think that would happen. That would be like, I would be really upset with that for sure. But otherwise, there's not really a lot of like guys that we could take in this draft that I would be like super pissed about in the first round. So it's going to be exciting, man. I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait for the draft. We're, 2.5 weeks now, basically away from it. So, but yeah, just like you said, I mean, that man lives in the opposing backfield. He does. He's sudden. He's dynamic. And like I said, they made him play in so many different parts of the D line. And it's like, yes, he can do that. And he'll do that a lot in the NFL. But if he can really like find a team that, this is the vision that we have for you. This is the kind of role that you're going to play. This is what you're going to do. And he could just get really good at that. I feel like Harmon is going to be a beast. And I think he's somebody that is going to go much higher than a lot of the mock drafts are saying. I think he's consistently like going in the later half of the first round. Guys, I'm not even going to lie. Like with all the things you hear about Mason Graham falling, which I don't think he should. And, what you see from Derek Harmon, like there could be a situation on draft night where Derek Harmon might go before Mason Graham. I don't think he should, but that's the cool thing about the draft is you have no idea what the hell is going to happen. And, if Mason Graham falls to 6 and then the next, 4 or 5 teams aren't as high on him as they are on Harmon, I mean, I could see it, but I agree. I think if Cincinnati passes on somebody like him, they're stupid. If Cincinnati goes anything but defense, they're dumb. They should probably try to look to trade back. So I think that could be interesting. I'm also going to make a specific video on this. I thought about this earlier. I think one of the hold on. Let me see. Even then, I'd like Jahdae Barron at 20. Yeah, see, like, I know, man. It's tough for me, though, too. It's tough for me because I love Jahdae Barron, and I think he would be really good. But do I want him at 20? My thing is it complicates the room a lot. Because the reason why I really looked forward to the corners that we have now is because, like, I love what I saw from Chris Abrams-Drain. I obviously love what I saw from Riley Moss, and I'm really excited to see what the next level that he takes it to next year, the kind of progress that he makes. And I think Jahdae Barron might just confuse the room a little bit. I mean, I love the player though. I do, but I just can't justify a corner because we're deep there. We got some guys. There. And you can always find like a veteran guy that can come in and play you a couple games too, especially some guys that will get cut after the, training camp and all that kind of stuff, maybe even after the draft. But yeah, I mean, that would be one of the more difficult draft picks for me because it's like, shit, like I love the player. Don't like the position though, just because we're deep there. But I mean, he could ball out. He would be your starting slot, worst case, day one. And the damn good one. So my boy Jaquan McMillan would be gone, but he'd be an immediate upgrade. I mean, that is for sure. You ask me, is Mark's preference at 20 interior defensive lineman like me? I would say it's up there. My preference right now is a weapon for Bo Nix. That's not a running back. You already know that. A receiver or a tight end. I think my top 3 picks, and not necessarily, I'm not going to put them in an order yet because it doesn't really matter. But 3 guys that I would be thrilled, that I would give an A+ grade to if we took in the first round that are realistic, are Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Higgins, and Colson Loveland. Those are the 3 guys that I'd be like, those are A+. If we took Derek Harmon, that's like a slight level below because I think he's so good. Or an interior defensive lineman in general, right? I mean, even if it was Walter Nolan or Kenneth Grant, because it's one of those positions where, man, you always have an advantage over teams when your defensive line is consistent and dominant. We are in the hardest division in the NFL. We have, what I think is going to be 3 really, really good teams in the division against us that are very well coached, some of the best coaches in NFL history with Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh and Andy Reid. And, a way to always level the playing field and something that's you can always rely upon is a dominant defensive line and offensive line, and we're solid there too. But the more guys that you can bring on that D-line and the way that we rotate guys in, it's always going to be a smart move. Not going to be as sexy of a move, but it's always going to be a smart move. Denver Trav, I appreciate you, man, coming in, brother. Hope you're doing great. Denver Trav doing some great stuff. Love the new pod, man. You guys are killing it. What do you think about Hampton now, and do you think he goes before our pick now? I'm in the same boat that I've always been with Hampton. I think Omarion Hampton's a really good player. Phenomenal running back. I don't want him at 20. I don't want nothing to do with him at 20, to be honest, because of the whole running back situation. And it's not just because of the running back. I love Omarion Hampton, but I think that Henderson fits the Broncos better. So there's also the fit thing. I think Hampton's going to be a really good back, but I don't know. From a fit standpoint, I think Henderson is better. But you asked me, do I think he goes before our pick? I actually do. Oddly enough, I can see that happening. I can see a team that really, really wants Hampton looking to maybe jump Denver because they think that we might take him. That could be a possibility, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was available. But then again, it also wouldn't shock me if he ended up going super late in the first round or even in the second, because of how NFL teams view running backs and this running back class. And anytime you have a really deep class, it always takes that one team to kind of like who's going to be the first one to start the run, and then it happens and it goes late, and sometimes those kind of runs get delayed. But not to take anything away from Omarion. I mean, I think he's fantastic. Super well-rounded, man. Super well-rounded, but it's hard for me to it's hard for me to talk about a running back in the first. Hey man, love the show. Appreciate you, Dreamweaver. Thanks, man. Thanks so much. That means a lot for real. How realistic do you think moving up in the second for a running back of our choices? I think that is probably one of the highest chances of doing that. Like I would say that would be the favorite if you're talking about all the different moves the Broncos would make, whether it be trading up in the first, trading back in the first, or trading up in the second. I think that it's a very big possibility that the Broncos would make a move, and not necessarily for a running back. I mean, it certainly could be. If they don't take one in the first round, then it probably will. But I think there's a really high chance that happens. And it's a really good draft for that, man. It's a good draft for that, because I think that the value and a lot of the guts in this year's draft are between picks 25 and 45 or 25 and 50. If you can find a way to get multiple picks within that range, you're going to be in a really good position. Even like maybe 25 to 40. Like there's a lot of guys that at least I have grouped in there, but I like the value there a lot. Like what I'm a big fan of, what I would like to see happen is, let's say the Broncos go from 20 and they trade back to 26 or 25, take a player and then trade back up in the second round using that pick that they got to trade back. You know, they can trade another one, and then they still come up in the surplus, right? With having an additional pick or a better pick for the draft. So I love that idea. I'd be a huge fan of that for sure. Another thing that we got to take into account in this draft that I think is interesting is the Jackson Dart showcase, right? Whatever it is that you feel about Jackson Dart, like I don't think he should be a first-round quarterback at all, but that doesn't really matter because we're not in the quarterback market, thank God. But if there are teams, man, that really like Jackson Dart, that really want him, that, or Shador Sanders drops, you got to think about it. The Pittsburgh Steelers are picking at 21. All right? We're picking right ahead of them. That's going to be a team that some other teams would target to say, shit, we got to jump them to get our quarterback if we want one. And so that makes Denver a very hot trading candidate in those particular scenarios. So that's something to keep your eye out on too. that I think could certainly happen in this draft is if a team's looking to get Jackson Dart, man, they might not only want to trade up with the Broncos, but they might be willing to trade up quite a bit to be able to get him. So. Yeah, Jeremy, this is interesting, man. What's going on, my man? It's been a minute since we've collabed, brother. We got to do something here soon. But no interior defensive lineman for Jeremy. He says in round 1, if Genty, the 2 tight ends, or Ibuka and possibly Tet, if the interviews check out, are gone. I can understand that. I certainly could. Like I would, if let's say Genty, he's going to be gone. Warren, Loveland, and Ibuka and Tet, let's say all those guys are not there, I would certainly be pounding the table for us to trade back. Now, obviously, the Broncos could try to trade back, but if nobody's willing to take a trade, they'll have to pick. And at that point, I'm good with Jaden Higgins at 20, man. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'd be a big fan of Jaden Higgins. And then at that point, Jaden Higgins or I think an interior defensive lineman would make a lot of sense. Jeremy, I'm curious for you, bro. If one of those guys, if all those guys were gone and we couldn't trade back, who would you take? Who would be your choice? Don't say Cam Scatterboo, bro. Oh, there it is. Even though I think it's steep, I could talk myself into Hampton. All right, let's say you couldn't choose a running back. Who would you go with? TW says I would go with Hampton too. I get it, guys. I totally get it. Yeah. And Andy nailed it. I'm not gonna lie, man. I just kind of assumed that like Matthew Golden was also gone, but I think I just at this point I don't think there's a chance in hell that he's gonna be available at 20. But if he is, I'm sprinting my card, sprinting it. Dream Reva says Caleb Johnson in the 2nd, best player available in the 1st. Yeah, I'd be good with that. I think at that point, like, I think now I'm at the point where I'm so over, like, criticizing every single running back or, like, I like this guy, I don't like this guy. Like, these guys are all so good in different reasons, and I try to match up the fit. And I think at the end of the day, whichever running back or running backs we end up drafting, I'm going to trust in the fact that, like, Payton got it. If Payton got him, I could talk myself into it. Caleb Johnson is not one of my top choices for backs. He's just a really big wide zone guy. He could work here, but he's too much of a 2-down back for me. I just feel like there's other guys that are a little bit more dynamic and better and fit more. But certainly, if we got him in the 2nd round, like I promise you, I would be all aboard. If that's ultimately the running back that the Broncos chose, I'm good with it. And if it's in the 2nd round, I'm good. That totally makes sense. Yeah, we definitely will, man. I'll hit you up for sure on that. But Caleb Johnson is fun because he's the flashes that you see are great, but man, just there's some frustration there too. But like I said, it's a difficult position to evaluate in a way overall. Bro, I swear I will light a candle and say a prayer for you on draft day, or at least on day 3 of the draft, that like we use one of those 6th rounders to get Desmond Watson. Or even better, we sign him as a UDFA and he makes this team because that would be awesome. It would be really fun to see a 460-pound D lineman doing something. I'd have him on. I'd have him line up as fullback every single time, bro, and just light guys up. But I love it. What's up, Mark? Mark Baker. Hello, how are you, man? Thanks for joining, bro. I appreciate it. This is awesome. Every time I go live, I'm seeing some new accounts and some people that I've never haven't seen interact on the channel. So this is always a lot of fun, man. So welcome. I appreciate it. Andy's saying I need Matthew Golden like I need water. I've still never met a person higher on Golden than I am. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say I need him as much as I need water, but he's so good. Like it was funny. I remember I was traveling for work and I did the film review in the hotel room when I was there. And I was looking at him a little bit on the plane, and I was like, I wanted to do a video on Matthew Golden because he wasn't really like super talked about, but some people were like all over the board. So it's like, this is the kind of guy that I want to look into. And I'm watching and I'm just like, man, he doesn't really pop, but he's always open all the time. And then I went and started doing some film reviews on like other receivers and looking at them, and I was like, oh no, Matthew Golden just moves differently than everybody else. And that's what it was. And then I went back and I was like, I get it now. The dude is just buttery smooth, so crisp. And yeah, I agree. I think it was about a month after that where I was like, there might not be a prospect in this draft that I'm more certain about is going to be a really good player than Matthew Golden and Emeka Egbuka. I think those two guys are just surefire. Like, I don't know what kind of ceilings they'll have, but I know they'll have at least a really, really high floor for sure. And I think Matthew Golden's ceiling is definitely a little bit higher than Egbuka. I love it because I know Jeremy's not necessarily that high on him based off what I see in the Discord. He said, I think personally I'd rather have Kyle Williams later than Golden at 20. And I can understand that. Like, you always have to look at value, right? It's like, okay, and that's always my argument when it comes to running back in the first round. It's like, okay, would you rather have Hampton at 20 or DJ Giddens at 81 or whatever the hell we're picking? 85. Shit. I mean, those are things you got to ask yourself. And same thing here. I mean, Kyle Williams later than Golden at 20. You can make the argument. Kyle Williams is really good too, man. He's really good. I think Matthew Golden is phenomenal. I really do. And but yeah, I mean, I'd be good with either one. I'd be phenomenal with Golden at 20, and I would be thrilled with Kyle Williams in the second or the third round for sure. Jared Wilson is a Bronco when he ends up slipping a little in the third or early fourth. I hope he does. That would be sweet. We could definitely use more beef and shoring up the interior that line. I feel like the more opportunities that we get to upgrade, especially at center, is really smart. And even though Wattenberg was solid last year, it does not mean that we can't get better there. So that in and of itself would very much help the run game for sure. So I'd be all good with that. Matthew Golden's mom thinks you're too high on him. I don't think that's true, bro. I think Matthew Golden's mama has the high expectations for him. That's funny. Free agent J.K. Dobbins after tax day, then Nolan Warren in the first if Genty's not available. By the way, I like Scatabo. Hey, Jeremy, we got a Scatabo lover and Mark. Jeremy loves him too. Listen, let me tell you what I think about Cam Scatabo. I was gonna make a whole video on this, and maybe I still will, about the Cam Scatabo debate. I don't think I've ever remember a player in the draft that, like, there's some guys that are saying he's a first round pick, and there's other guys saying, take him in like day 3 late. It's crazy. So when you make this Cam Scatabo argument, it's tough because he kind of does check all the boxes, but even though he flashed and he did so great and there was so many different metrics that like he just tore up in college, I don't know why, and maybe I'm tripping. I just feel like even in college, at times he looked slow, especially on like the plays where, he's bumping it outside and you've got a defender coming, chasing him from behind him. It was like he would get caught. And yeah, he had those flashes where like he could make guys miss. He's got a little bit of wiggle, but still overall, like he just doesn't look fast at the college level. So I'm just like, how slow is he going to look in the NFL? But then there's other times where I'm like, man, this dude's got some juice and some wiggle. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. So I don't know. I really don't know how to grade Cam Scatabo overall. I just don't, because like I said, I mean, you look at all the metrics, like he's got an incredible elusive rating. He makes guys miss. He's got really soft hands. He runs like with his hair on fire. I don't really care about long speed. That's never been something that I cared about with running backs because it's so rare that like you're actually breaking long runs. He does show the ability to make like 3-yard gains, 5-yard gains, but he just doesn't look very quick. I think his vision's suspect. Some guys think he has really good vision. I think his vision is fine, but his vision with his lack of speed and explosiveness, has to be like very, very on point in the NFL because those holes will close up quicker. The guys will crash on you quicker. So I just don't know how his game translates. And it's not because he's slow in the sense of like he ran a 4.6 at his pro day. I don't care about that. It's like he just looks like he's lagging a little bit. But sometimes it could be that they're just tempoing their runs. I don't know. He's a tough one for me, man. He would be really intriguing, but I might still fall into the category of give me Cam Scatterbo in the 6th round and let him be the best fullback in the NFL. And maybe he's because he's a white running back. I don't know. See, this is exactly what I mean, man. Yeah, you'll like we could have the biggest debates. It's like almost polarizing. It's almost like politics in terms of like how split people are when it comes to Scatterbo. So, and listen, if you're gonna mention Toby Gerhart as a reason why you don't like Cam Scatterbo, I will not take that. That's bullshit. That's just lazy analysis. He ain't Toby Gerhart. But yeah, people are really split on him, man. People are really split. Sebastian Padilla, do you think we trade up in the 2nd to get Henderson? If we do, I will streak my neighborhood naked in celebration, probably, for lack of better words. I don't know what we're going to end up doing. I think that I have a feeling we are going to make a trade up into the 2nd round to get somebody that we're targeting. If it's Henderson, I'd be thrilled. I mean, I love that dude. I have him as my second highest ranked running back. I think he is an absolute perfect type of running back for not just for Sean Payton, but for exactly what this team needs. He's phenomenal, man. He is genuinely phenomenal. I love watching Travion Henderson. I get the injury concerns. You have to remember those 2 injuries were not related, and he did have a fully healthy season this year. So I'm not overly concerned about it. Maybe teams are, but I love him. I'm assuming you're talking about you're talking about I would only take him if we get an insurance with Jello Knees Dobbins or another veteran. Yeah, maybe. I think if we hypothetically if we sign J.K. Dobbins, then Omarion Hampton would make more sense. Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson obviously would make some of those bigger 1st and 2nd down backs would make more sense because J.K. would probably be your 3rd because J.K. Dobbins is actually a really good pass protector and he can catch the ball in the backfield. He should not be your full-time starter. So that could change things. Like if we signed Jello Knees, a.k.a. J.K., before the draft, then that would be really interesting because, like I said, I think it could change the philosophy on the type of back that you're looking for. He's a fullback. Oh, man, this is dope. You guys are awesome. I saw Marcus Whitman say he had to snort cocaine before he did his Cam Scatterbo eval, and I've never seen anything like it. Yo, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. That's good, man. I have nothing else to comment on that, but that's hilarious. Yeah, he is very polarizing, and Jeremy, you make a good point. I don't really know why. I know a lot of guys hated him. I mean, because he's an in-your-face. He talks a lot of shit. He fires up his team. I think a lot of the same reasons that people hated Tebow. I mean, obviously there was a religious aspect with Tebow too, but a lot of people it doesn't rub them the right way when there's a dude that's always brash and fired up. So I get that. I mean, I think that there's a part of that too, but yeah, I think a lot of it just boils down to with his personality, or they're just maybe they're just haters too. There's some Texas fans out there, Longhorns, that are man, this dude almost came back and single-handedly beat us. So they have something personally against them. Yeah. You don't love him like Andy loves Golden. Yeah, I don't think that there's anybody that I love as much as Andy loves Golden. And in fact, if there's any single guys out there, find yourself a woman that loves you the way that Andy loves Matthew Golden, and you'll be a very happy person for the rest of your life. So. Oh, you're talking about oh, are you talking Mark, are you talking about Cam Scatterbo being good in pass protection? He's actually not as good as you would think. He's got the frame for it, and he certainly has good effort. But I see him with quite a bit actually in pass protection. But that doesn't mean that's not really a part of the eval for me. I think he could, if you've got the frame for it and you show the willingness, usually you can be coached into it. But I'll tell you, there are 3 guys in this draft that I can think of that are elite pass protectors in the NFL day one. Starts with Travion Henderson. He's the best pass protecting back in this class. Kyle Monungai will literally like flatten the blitzer when somebody blitzes. So he's up there as well. I think he's an absolute beast. And yeah, Kyle Monungai is a stud. And I think Taj Brooks is a really good pass protector too. I just don't think he's a very good running back, like a runner. A little bit slow, but he's a beast. Kodiak says Monungai is better than Scatterbo. I 100% agree. I know Mark says LOL okay, but dude, go do yourself a favor and watch Kyle Monungai. That dude is ridiculous. He's ridiculous, man. He's so good. T Fishes coming through with the super chat. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Means a lot. React to Jackson Woodard highlights for 2 minutes. He's a linebacker from UNLV. I love your content, brother. I appreciate you, T. Thank you. You want me to do that now? Because I'm not going to lie, I have no idea who Jackson Woodard is. So we can put it on if you want. Should I go on YouTube and we'll just react to this live? Is that what you want, T? I'll do it. That's a lot of pressure. Let me get that pulled up and then we'll flip over to it. He says a clutch super chat. So which one? Is there a 2-minute one? The UNLV highlights? Is that what you're talking about? Here. All right. Hold up. Let's do this. All right. We doing this? Let's do it. I hate it when they have highlight videos and they don't show me where the hell the player is. Who's Jackson Woodard, by the way? What's the background on him? Is he like a day 2, a day 3 drafted player? What's the projection on Jackson? Sorry, guys. It was a super chat. I mean, I'm only going to do what the super chats tell me. I ain't going to leave him hanging on that, but yeah, see, that kind of stuff I dig, man. And it's always hard to evaluate that because it's like, was it a really shitty throw? But I love that. So it seems like on this very, very short film, it seems like he's a very good coverage linebacker. Like even though you see him do good things like that in the run, it almost seems like he's somebody that drops back in coverage and balls out. Oh shit, hitting Genty. Damn. I mean, he looks dynamic. I ain't gonna lie. Not really firing much on him. He looks nice, bro. I'm not seeing so much on him. I mean, it seems like he's a day 3 type of a guy. He's got a 51 athleticism score. I don't know if he did anything at his pro day. I ain't gonna lie, he looks like a crackhead. But I dig it, man. Jackson Woodard, I will 100% look into him more and and get familiar with him as a player, because I think linebacker, like tight end, is another one of those positions where I'd like to see some guys get drafted. I'd like to see us add to the room. You know, um, so I think that there's quite a bit of guys that would make a lot of sense. Teddy Buchanan, one of the guys that I like, for the later rounds. Jay Higgins, somebody that's decent. So I dig it. But thanks, T. I appreciate them. I'll certainly look into that for sure. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's tough, Mark, with off-ball linebackers, because you look at them in the NFL, and it just takes many, many years. I feel like for a lot of these guys to really get good, or it's always about the right fit. But I think that there's some guys out there that have a lot of potential. Do we want to draft another, linebacker from Arkansas? Well, it says UNLV, but the picture of him is from Arkansas. Did he come from Arkansas? I don't know. Anyways. Hold on, man. Is this true? Yo, T, if this is true, man, that's dope. That's actually crazy. I don't know if you're messing or not, but that's actually super cool. And I would love to hear that story. Um, but damn, that'd be awesome. Yeah, no, it's true. And a lot of the times too, man, it's like, I think if there's not continuity for a lot of these linebackers, it's really tough for them to develop as well, man. Because you got coaching staffs that maybe want to play them in different positions or do different things. So it's pretty crazy. And it's a lot of it. So much is like, oh, they always talk about athleticism. Like, did you guys know Dre Greenlaw ran a 4.7 at his pro day? I don't think it really matters. Manuel Correa, how you doing, man? Hope you're having a great night, bro. Thanks for joining the chat. It's the first time the name's not familiar, so I'm sorry if I ever missed it in the past, but thanks for joining, man. This is awesome. I appreciate it. T Fish is messing with us. I thought you were about to. Man, that's not cool. Yeah, Kodiak, you ain't lying, dude. I think Matthew Golden also saved Andy from a burning building, and I think Desmond Watson for sure saved you. And yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like for the longest time it was LaQuint Allen. LaQuint Allen could have saved me, but now I'm kind of cooling on him because I think he's just a third down back, even though I still think he's awesome. But I mean, Emeka Ibuka can save me from a burning building any day. You guys are dope, man. You guys should just hop on. Just hop on the pod, dude. What if I sent you guys the invite link? Jeremy, Andy, Kodiak. If I just sent you the invite link, would you guys just get on right now, mid-pod, mid-live? Send it over. I love Kodiak. Kodiak's the man. All right, I'm putting it in the Discord, bro. Anybody that wants to get on that's in the Discord, you got the link to just hop on. And I'm gonna hit the vape for you, brother. I'm gonna hit the vape for you, but yeah, this is gonna be an interesting draft. I think that there's so many things. I mean, do you guys feel like the Broncos are gonna sign somebody before the draft? Do you think they'll bring in Jello Dobbins? Do you think they'll bring in Elijah Moore? The history shows that they do typically. I mean, I think the first year for George Payton, he signed Teddy Bridgewater just like a couple days before the draft. I'll send my OnlyFans link. All right, sounds good. Thanks, T. Please do mal subscribe. And then I know last year, I don't know if they signed right before the draft, but after the owners meeting, they brought in the receiver that got shot. I always forget names when I go live, dude. It's so funny. Josh Reynolds. And then, I feel like it's a common thing because, teams kind of want to switch things up and be like, oh, maybe they get a sense of what the league is feeling like position-wise they're going to take, so they try to sign somebody. But I don't know if that's just us overthinking it or what it is. But I do expect for J.K. Dobbins to get signed by a team before the draft. I don't think it'll be the Broncos. I don't necessarily care. But, it could. I'm going to piss them out. Okay. Mark Baker said, I think they will distract from Genty. Who's they? I think they want to distract. Like you talk about the Broncos? Because one thing I can tell you, if you're talking about the Broncos specifically, I don't think anybody in that building is expecting Ashton Genty to be even remotely available at 20. Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, I feel like if they had a chance to get him, then yeah, but I think Genty's going pretty early. I don't think he necessarily goes at 6 to the Raiders. I just don't think the Raiders are going to take him. But I think he's gonna go pretty early. Yeah, and I definitely don't think they should trade up. I mean, maybe to like 16, 17 if they had to. But if you're going to trade up to the range in which you think he's actually going to be there where you can actually get him, like let's say he slips past the Raiders at 6, and you trade up to like 7 or 8, you're going to have to give up a future first-round pick. And I love me some Ashton Genty, but ain't no chance in hell I'm doing that for a running back. I don't care who the running back is. I don't care if it was Barry Sanders. That's crazy. Because he'll end up just retiring in the middle of his career. I don't know. No. Yeah, that'll make sense to me, but maybe. I think if Sean here's the thing. You make a good point. If Sean loves him, he probably would try to make a trade up for him. I think it'd be stupid, but I can see that happening. My man. Well, look at this. Look at this.
Yo, what?
Look at this. Mid-live, dude. I love that.
I know. Once I saw T send the super chat, I was like, and you offered for me to come in, I was like, I got to come in here. I got to be on open mic night.
Yeah. And guys, anytime, this is for everybody. Anytime I'm live, you guys can always just be like, hey, man, I want to hop on. It's always open invite. You guys can always come on. This is not exclusive stuff. So just let me know. I'll send the link.
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. I'm the Kodiak Broncos podcast. Let's keep going through these comments. Y'all have been awesome
this is
so
dope.
far. This chat's been great.
This is awesome, man. And thanks for joining again. And any questions you guys got for Kodiak, fire them off for myself. And definitely be sure to subscribe to his channel. Check out some of the stuff. Every time he comes on or every time I watch a video, he got a different background. He's got a different hairstyle. He's always mixing it up. So I dig it.
Yeah, of course. Cool.
And that is a fact, man. Colorado sports finally good again, except for the Rockies. Yeah, the Rockies are a train wreck. Are you a Rockies fan at all? Are you a baseball fan, Cody?
So I am a baseball. I used to go super hard on baseball when I was younger. Then after the Arenado trade, I was like, all right, I'm not following this team anymore. And obviously the Dodger stuff has kind of ruined baseball for me lately as well. But ultimately, T's comment has me weak. But yeah, I follow it passively, and I think the Yankees' new bats may have saved baseball.
You said Yankees?
Yeah, the Yankees' new bats, I think they may have saved baseball because of the, torpedo bats. And
I heard about those torpedoes. So what the hell are the torpedo bats?
So apparently they're like perfectly legal. Apparently they're just more susceptible at making the ball hit the barrel of the bat.
Yeah.
So basically it's, I don't know, they play in a Mickey Mouse park anyway. So obviously it's going to help them score a lot of runs regardless. But I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny, man. I've never really gotten into baseball. I probably because I grew up in Denver and the Rockies, but I tried to. But it's a funny story. So you know who? Oh my God! Every time I go live, dude, I forget people's names. He plays. He used to play for the Braves. Now he plays for the Cubs, and he's a really popular dude. He's married to Mal Swanson, Dansby Swanson.
Okay,
yeah. So, funny story with them. Mallory Pugh played on the women's national team. She also played with my wife in high school. They're best friends. They're really good friends. They played together at college. So, I was invited to their wedding. So, I ended up going to Mal and Dansby's wedding. It was like super exclusive down in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And it was crazy because I was like, dude, of all of the athlete weddings I get invited to, it's the only one ever. It was, of course, baseball. I'm like, shit, I don't even know half the players here. And apparently, I was there with like big time dudes. Like, I don't even know their names, but I know they were like big time guys. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
pretty
was
sick.
dope. But yeah, the Rockies are just they're never a franchise. Like even if I started to really like baseball, I would never be able to support a franchise run like that by Dick Monfort. But it was really funny because apparently Dick Monfort came out and was like, the Broncos got a really good owner. And he was like hyping up the Broncos owners. I'm like, dude, hopefully the Broncos owners buy the Rockies. That'd be pretty tight.
Yeah,
Then we can actually maybe be like legitimate.
honestly, you know what's so sad to me is
I
that
did.
I feel like the Rockies owners, like I've had the privilege of meeting them a couple times, and they really care about the team. The problem is they just have no idea where to put their resources. You know, I saw a great article by Troy Rank that was like, if you gave the Dodgers $100 million and the Rockies $100 million, the Dodgers would find a way to buy 6 All-Stars. Meanwhile, the Rockies, they would buy Chris Bryant and a hotel around the stadium to develop the
no,
lineup.
shit. No shit. No shit. And it's tough too with one of those with the Rockies, man, because it's like, I mean, he's a great businessman. They got a great business model. They have an amazing stadium, and it's like, can you really blame them? I mean, they don't care. Like whether they're shitty or really good, they're making a lot of money, and so I feel like a part of it is like, do you blame the fans? I mean, you can't like tell the fans to stop going to the games, but
Exactly. Because the Rockies, they have a decent following here. Like Coors Field is always full. Wait,
yeah,
you say one of the
yeah.
best couples in America. And
I didn't know you were a Cubs fan. Yeah, Andy, I'll send you some of the pics, man. It was cool. I kind of went there by you know, what is it? What's the phrase you use? Like by association, like just because I happen to marry a really good friend of Mallory's. But yeah, they played soccer together. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's like, what do you tell people? Do you not go? I mean, I don't know. But the Rockies
I don't
are.
know the solution either, but like I don't know. I feel like all the people that go to like Rockies games specifically, like a lot of them, they're either corporate people, like they just get the tickets from their company, or old people. Yo,
Look
Jeremy.
at this, dude. We just, I love this, man. I didn't even know. Jeremy just hops on.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up, man? It's about time me and Kodiak get on the same one together. We've
Yeah.
been talking about it.
Exactly.
Is it the first time?
This is the first time.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's dope, man.
I know. I was
How you
just
been,
like
bro?
about to go to sleep. We just watched a movie, and then I was like, "Oh, let me see what's going on YouTube." And boom,
Yeah.
here we go.
Boom. Here we are, man. Well, this is the one and only Jeremy Sean A. You guys see him a lot in the chat here. It's cool. It's like it's fun, man. You just all of a sudden, boom, you see
Yeah.
people chatting, and then you're like, oh, that's how they look.
Yeah, exactly. I got to get on here to make fun of Andy's golden love a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. No. Mark loves him
He
too.
wants a golden shower, I think, from Matthew Golden, brother.
I don't know about that. That's a lot.
Yeah. No golden showers. But what's new with you, Jeremy? What's going on, man? How you feeling about the draft coming up, man?
I'm
who are your
excited.
guys?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mine haven't really changed that much. Like, obviously, it's like the guys I fall in love with, and all of a sudden start getting talked about top 10, top 12, and you're like, gosh dang it. I was, of course, on Genty, and then Warren, and then Loveland. That's still my guys if they're there. I think there's a possibility that could happen. One of those three. I know that everybody's like, oh yeah, this gets locked in, but those are such deep classes of running backs and tight ends that I don't know. If the Raiders, I don't think I have a feeling the Raiders aren't going to do it at 6, especially with Tom Brady being in the ear. So I think there's a possibility somebody could slide down there. If not, I'm huge on Igbuka. The Tet thing freaked me out a little bit, but then when I heard it, it's 2 years ago, I think they'll do their homework on that. If they ended up drafting him, I'm confident. I'm fine with them not drafting him because they're worried about it, and I'm fine with them drafting him if they feel comfortable with it. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with that. And then I'd like a trade back if those guys aren't there, but I think we're in a really good position.
You make a good point, and I think that's what's fun about the draft, but it's also because we just want to know who the hell we're gonna get. But it's nice to feel really confident in the GM and the head coach that ultimately whatever they end up doing, you're just gonna be like, hey, if that's who they wanted, you got to trust it. But
Exactly.
so now I think it's just more about figuring out who you want. So
It almost feels like this is like a puzzle. So it's like we know what positions we want and which ones are the right parts of the draft to pull that trigger. And that's what's hard. So it's like if you love Ibuka and you want to go there in the first round, okay, then you'll do something else later. If you want to wait, and if you love, like I said earlier, Kyle Williams, and you want to in Loveland's there, then you can wait. Or if you want to go defensive line or whatever. So it's kind of just like we know what kind of guys we like. It's just when and where.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's also like, it's one of those where you're like, oh my, are we going to make a trade? Do we make a trade up? Like, it's always so exciting because you're just like, holy shit, the Broncos are trading up, or who are we going to get? Or, oh no, we traded back, but like, what did we end up getting for it? So I think that's always the fun part. But just like you said, I mean, it is a puzzle, and there's so many scenarios that could happen. And that's what's fun, because last year I was like, it is a complete failure if we take anything else besides a quarterback. And I was at the point where, like, I wanted Bo Nix. Obviously, I know Jeremy's the one that put me on him early. You thought I wasn't on? He wasn't on him like Christmas of 2023, I feel like.
That's where it started.
Yeah, but I was like, quarterback or it's an F draft. I don't care. It's an awful draft. We need to get a quarterback. And this year, it's like finally fun again, because it's like there's so many directions that this can go, and it would be a successful draft.
Yeah.
Desmond Watson at 20, bro.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's my dream. No, but to be completely honest, like whether we get Ibuka, whether we get Loveland, whether we get Grant, whether we get Harmon, whether we trade back a couple picks and get Henderson, there are so many ways for the Broncos to improve. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about this draft, is that I'm eventually going to talk about, I think tomorrow, my top 10 preferred guys for the Broncos. And like, honestly, there's a lot of dudes we could go that I'd be happy with, that, we could take at number 20, and I'd be like, all right, cool. Yeah, this makes sense. When, I mean, in years past, there haven't been a lot of times where I could just be like, we could get better in a lot of ways. There's very few ways that I think they could fail the first round. Like, that's just all I have to say. If they trade up, then, and they think Genty or Warren really, really revamps the offense, at least to the point where they'd be comfortable giving significant capital to do it, I'd be completely fine with it. If they trade back, I'm all for that even more. So yeah, just a lot of really, really nice ways for the Broncos to improve. So many directions we could go. And no matter what's going to happen, we're going to get a good player with our first pick in the draft. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, no, I think so too, man. I think so too. I'm pumped. Denver Trav over here saying I want offense round one really bad. Yeah, I mean, I feel like offense makes sense, especially because the two big signings in the offseason were, defense. Obviously, we got Evan Ingram later, but with the Hufanga and the Greenlaw, I think now it's time to get more and more weapons around Bo Nix. I mean, we desperately need to just get him some dudes that can ball. So I'm still open to like Derek Harmon or some sort of a defensive player round one, but I would certainly prefer any kind of offensive weapon. Even Burden at 20 would be nice, because you feel like I just want to get guys with juice, man, guys that can do it. And I don't want to go into the season, really trying to talk myself into like Troy Franklin killing it or Devon Vele taking another step. Like, it certainly could happen, but I don't want hope to be the strategy. I want to feel like, man, now we got 4 guys that could potentially be good. One of them's got to hit, right? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Damn, I feel like I'm catching a stray from my Troy Franklin thing. Remember that I did a month ago.
No, you ain't, because like a lot of people are super down on him. I know you're not. Obviously, you had a couple wonderful videos on him, and I think Troy Franklin can actually be a really good player. But I don't want to go in there with like I said, hope being the strategy. It's like, if Troy Franklin hits, great, but I want to also have like a couple other guys that they have the potential to really hit as well, because I think it increases the chances that ultimately 1 or 2 of them will hit, and then you're good. Kind of like what we did last year going into the running back position. It was like, yeah, I think I feel like Javonte Williams can take the next step because he's 2 years removed, and then Audric Estime, I think he's got a lot of potential. He could be good, and then it's like, we were right for thinking that, but it's like none of them really hit. But it was like, man, now you can get fresh blood. you had 3 or 4, young dudes that you didn't really know about, you feel a little bit better that one of them is going to hit. So I think it's more like just an Oz thing, but I'm still high on Franklin. He's putting in the work this offseason, man. He's always putting some workout videos and stuff out on his Instagram. I don't know if you guys follow him, but
I was about to say, you sent some stuff to like the Discord on his Instagram, like his stories, and his profile picture gets me every single time.
yeah, dude looks like he's in high school still, about to like taking a picture before he goes out to the clubs, But you forget this dude's 21 years old. It's crazy.
He's
21.
3 years younger than me. Wow.
Well, now that he's number 11 again, I think it's all going to change. That's what
It's gonna look better. I'll tell you that.
He
like
didn't feel comfortable in 16. Nobody felt comfortable. So in 11, it's exactly
Benny
like
Fowler
Oregon again.
2.0.
Benny Fowler's having a little resurgence too. Have you seen him doing pods?
He's in the DNVR, yeah.
Shout out to Benny.
Dude, he's good. I like him a lot, actually. Like, I don't know if he's done radio or media before, but it seems like he's been doing it for a long time. He's awesome.
He was on like a national or like a New York. I think he went to New York after us, and I think he was doing one for them for a while. So I think he had been doing it.
He was such an underrated receiver, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I like Benny. I thought he caught everything, bro. Dude was nails.
Yeah, and he caught Peyton Manning's last pass ever, that 2-point conversion. So
he
that's
did.
Pretty cool. He said he said he messed up and gave it back to Peyton. He offered it back to Peyton. He goes, "Hey Peyton, I caught your last throw ever. Do you want it?" And he thought like Peyton wasn't gonna want it. And Peyton's like, "Sure, yeah, I'll take it." And he's like,
"Hell yeah, I want
it." He's like,
"Yeah,
damn it, I shouldn't have."
No, he's right to offer it though. But that would have been cool for him to keep. But do you remember the Steelers game, the year that like Peyton basically took a self sack, but they didn't call it, so he just got up and threw it.
And he kind of slid forward instead of just diving back, and for whatever reason they didn't call it.
They didn't call it. He's like, "Cool."
Threw it to Emmanuel Sanders or whatever.
I thought it was Benny Fowler. Was it Emmanuel?
No, I think it was Sanders. But it was still pretty. That was pretty rad.
Yeah. No, that was I felt like he was a pretty underrated guy in a year where he was undrafted, right? And then a couple seasons before we had taken Cody Latimer, and he ended up being just like nothing. Special teams guy. This undrafted dude comes out of nowhere and just starts playing. Those are the good days.
That's what's so funny about how we're pouring over all these different like draft scenarios and first round, second round, third round, blah, blah, blah. And then it's always these guys that's just like undrafted or we never even heard about, like Vele last year or whoever. And you're just like, those guys end up being like Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, who's been like the franchise people have been. Shannon Sharp was like 7th round, like all these people who are like legendary Broncos.
Yeah.
And then it's the Cody Latimers and like the Carlos Hendersons and all the people that we totally spent all this draft stock on and didn't end up being anything. So you never know.
That's the fun thing, man. That's always the fun part. I mean, y'all remember we took Monte Ball in the second round, 2013. I was fired up about it. I was like, dude, second round? Dude was a beast in Wisconsin. And then it ends up being C.J. Anderson, the undrafted guy that comes in that was like an absolute monster. So,
and then we got Melvin Gordon from Wisconsin. Maybe we should just stay away from Wisconsin running backs. Maybe that's what the problem is.
Yeah. I think Wisconsin running backs in general, we had Ron Dane. Remember Ron Dane? He was a big bust, but he had like a sweet game for us in Thanksgiving. Won it for us. But yeah, Wisconsin's got a weird like curse on their running backs in the NFL. I feel like all of them, they don't usually do all that good and they kind of pan out. So,
yep.
Let's get some of these. He does need to work on the tracking. That is a big thing that Troy Franklin needs to work on. What do you guys think about this?
Okay. So at number 20, I just don't really agree with the process of taking Henderson just because, I mean, he still profiles well as like a Jahmyr Gibbs type where, you want to maximize his efficiency by kind of limiting his touches. Whereas I think if you were to go with Hampton in that situation, Hampton is a true 3-down guy. Like he has the size to be a 3-down guy. That being said, Henderson is really, really high up on my preferences for the Broncos to get. So, and I can't remember which mock draft I saw, but it had us going back to like 24, 26 and picking up an extra 3rd round pick. So if we were able to do that, money, I'd be able to do
100%.
that. Maximize
Yeah.
your top 100 picks while getting Trevion Henderson. Yes.
Yeah, at that point you can justify that because even though it's still technically first rounder, like you're getting a third in advance, and you know, as a result. So the value at that point would certainly make sense. So I like that. I like that idea a lot.
The problem I have with Henderson is he's been injured the last couple of years, and he's a rotational back, like you said, Kodiak. He's not a 3-down guy. And, I mean, we kind of have that guy on the roster right now with Jaleel, and I'm not saying their talent level is the same, but just, like, that style of guy. And it's like, are you willing to trade the 20th pick for Jaleel plus? And I'm not. I think you can get more bang for your buck with that, personally.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at with that.
I'll tell you. Oh yeah, and it was Andy's mock. See that? Look at that. You're sitting there referencing Andy's mock. Kodiak, my man. He's got it on lock. So I can understand that. So I think the injuries I'm not overly worried about because at least the most recent year he was healthy. But I'll tell you, I don't know how much you've looked into Henderson, Jeremy, but that dude is
He's electric. He's electric.
Dude, he's like, I mean, I know Andy had a pro comp of Aaron Jones. I think it's a perfect comp because like running style he is, but he's a lot more Jahmyr Gibbs than he is Jaleel, you know, in that sense.
I just think he needs to be with the Judkins. He needs another guy who's opposite style and to split reps. So it's like, yeah, if you already had that guy and like if you think Estimate could be that guy or whatever, but I just don't want him to be like, oh, we got him, so now we're good. That's just not where we're at with that.
I agree, and that's why I think we need to get 2 backs regardless. You know, and it depends on, you know, when you take the first one, you got to get somebody opposite of the second because that is a good point. And with Sean Payton, I mean, he is going to at least have 2 backs. I mean, he's going to split reps. I think it is in all the years that he had Kamara only had 20 carries in like 4 games in all those years that he had Alvin Kamara there. So it's going to be a split backfield, no doubt about it. And I mean, and I would agree with you. Like, I think if you got Trevion, I would still be like, all right, let's get, you know, Damian Martinez later or, you know, somebody else later that maybe can be that guy. Or maybe they think it could be Estime, which I just don't think that they do. But yeah, you make a good point. Or, you know, same as the opposite. Like if they end up getting Hampton or Quinshon Judkins, it's like, all right, now we got to look at getting LaQuint Allen or Brashad Smith or you know, Jaden Blue or one of those guys later too. So I think you make a good point. I mean, you got to look at the whole room, not just a single guy. But I just feel like for what he wants to do, for what Sean Payton wants to do, Henderson just makes a lot of sense. But yeah, it's going to have to be a couple other guys also.
And the other thing with any running back, not just Henderson, but any running back, I'm kind of looking at any running back being a 4 to 5 year window, like rookie year deal. I'm not expecting to like re-sign them. Only like the guys who get re-signed with their own team, that's like almost never. You almost.
I have the numbers. I made a video on that. Yeah.
So
it was yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you're drafting Colston Loveland and you're hoping he's gonna be a decade guy. If you're drafting, you know, he's so young, all those kind of things. If you're drafting even Igbuka or something like that, you think he's going to be somebody who can be in your franchise for a long time. You're drafting a running back, Henderson, Hampton, whoever. It's like it's few and far between if he's going to be past his first contract. So that's just another thing you have to think about with that kind of investment.
Yeah. Yes, Cam Scadboo, he's coming back up in the chat again. No,
Unless
yeah,
it's
I mean,
Cam Scadboo, then you do it.
You're 100% right, and that's kind of the whole argument. Is it's nothing against running backs. It's just they don't have a long shelf life. They are susceptible to getting injured. I mean, yeah, like so it was 21 running backs have been drafted in the first round since 2010. 5 of them signed a second contract with that original team, but like only one of them actually stayed with that team throughout their entire contract. Like everyone else either got hurt, or they were awful, or they were traded right afterwards. So even then, it's like, yeah, they just don't,
doesn't happen.
you know, typically last very long. It sucks, but it kind of is how it is. So
Exactly.
yeah, Kodiak, do you have any like late round gems or somebody that like aside from Desmond Watson, obviously that you're just like, man, I feel like this dude, you know, day 2 or day 3 could be fantastic for us?
Well, I
really like?
mean, you've already kind of you've already kind of spread some Kyle Monangai propaganda, and I think that that's, you know, getting more and more on my radar as we go through this process. I don't really know his projected range. He has a very, very wide projected range because I've seen him like starting to creep up, and he seems to be getting more steam as we get higher into draft season. But ultimately, uh, yeah, Monangai is probably one of the dudes that I've really, really zeroed in on because he runs so violently. Like if we were to get, I know that a lot of people would hate this idea, but Trevion in the top 2 rounds or a guy like Monangai in the 4th or 5th round, I feel like that gives us our, thunder and lightning in a sense because Estime, not expecting him to be anything. Joel McLaughlin, he can be the third back. But ultimately, Monangai just runs angry. Like he runs like Pacheco, but even angrier. So I'm really, really, really.
What would you do if we got him and Cam Scatterbo?
Wait, Monangai and Cam Scatterbo?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
man.
we would have the angriest running back room.
Yes.
Just send flowers to all the AFC West teams for the deaths that are coming their way.
Honestly, I'm kind of in on that because I felt like last year we were just atrocious in short yardage situations. Now, 4th and 1, we actually converted at the 3rd highest rate in the league. I saw in a tweet, but there were so many times last year where we had 2nd and 1 and we couldn't pick up a first down, and it just drove me absolutely bananas. So if you get some guys you can just wham up the middle and they'll lower their helmet and punish the other dudes and make them feel the hit and keep wearing them down as the NFL shifts to a more like possession oriented style of play, then I don't know. I would. Scatterbo and Monangai, that could be a lot of fun.
Dude, you put Scatterbo in at fullback. You put Monangai behind him in the I formation. That's like the new tush push, but legal. Exactly. I mean, I can guarantee you we're getting a first down.
Yeah, so you know how all those fantasy football guys talk about like 0 RB? So if we decide to go 0 RB and the Broncos still say, all right, we're going to go budget, we're going to try to ball out on a budget with our running backs, we spend at the other positions, like we get defensive line round 1, we get tight end round 2, we fall in love with the corner in round 3, then we still need some dudes late, and for some reason we still haven't addressed the position, then go with Scatterbo, go with Monangai, and just watch other teams cry themselves to sleep trying to stop us.
Man, maybe we got something. I never even thought about that combination, but like holy shit, that would be crazy. Mm-hmm. That would be a lot of fun.
You could throw some Damian Martinez in there too, just in case one of the other guys goes earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be fun too. Cam Scatterbo, LaQuint Allen is awesome. I can't stop thinking of I almost feel certain that Sean Payton's going to take LaQuint Allen, and it's probably going to be in the 5th or the 6th. But I just feel like, man, I wouldn't have a 5th round pick, but maybe we could. You never know. We might end up with one, but yeah. I mean, that would be interesting. And then T. Fishes here says, Zaw Frazier and Keaton Crawford are nice to me. It's funny, I actually started looking into Zaw Frazier because I saw him as one of the underrated guys, I think, on some YouTube channel. And he seemed really intriguing as a corner. Keaton Crawford, I'm not sure what he plays. But I don't know if you guys heard about him.
I haven't. Kodiak, weren't you on the Len Larison, train for a while there for
100%. I made a video about him like a week and a half ago. He'd fit in great with our mostly white roster, so
it was funny. The stock exchange guy said Lan Larison is the white version of Christian McCaffrey. And I thought that was really funny because I was like, that's a good way of putting it. Like, he's that white looking. He's got his little mustache, It's like he's so white he makes Christian McCaffrey not look white. So I thought that was a really funny comparison. But that dude is wild, man.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he's super intriguing. It's just like you also watch his film and it looks like you're watching a high school game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he'd be like the state trooper of the NFL.
He would be.
I know. Okay.
Mike is in. Look who we got. We are blessed with Mike.
This is what happens when your wife leaves you alone at night.
Dude, my wife's on vacation. My wife is on vacation. I know.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
I'm watching you guys a lot lately. Love it. Good to see you.
Likewise, man. Yeah, likewise. I was like, somebody popped in on stage. Look who it is. How you doing?
I'm good. I didn't have the so I got the Discord on my phone, not in my studio, and I'm like trying to get you on my phone, like, hey, like DM me the link, man, to my Twitter, because I didn't know how to do it, and I thought, yeah, fuck it, I'm a grown man, I'm gonna go out there and just figure it out. So I did. I got here and I waited. I patiently waited, which is, I'm a very patient person, as you guys all know. So it's good to see you guys, man. This is awesome.
Likewise,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Definitely.
Thanks for hopping
Love
in.
the
And
show.
my bad. I don't know if you sent me a DM on Twitter or if you
No,
wrote
I
in the
just
chat
put it in
here.
I just put it in the chat, and you guys just ignored me, and that's fine because I'll deduct points from you next time you're on the show.
Where? Oh, that's rude. I didn't even. Did you even see Mike? I didn't even know Mike was in the chat.
It's up there.
Are you
Yeah,
lying? Are
yeah,
you
no,
lying?
he was in there. I saw him. He said, "I love
see?
this, watching this." Yep.
He saw it, but he's not subject
Man.
to point deducts yet.
That's
but
true.
He will
My
be.
bad.
He will
That's
be.
true.
My bad.
Oh man, I'm just fucking. It's good
Anybody,
My
to
fault.
anybody who doesn't know, Mike has like one of the funnest shows for any people that are super into the Broncos and content creators. No, dude, no, I honestly,
giving you
your
points
show,
if you
your
like
fun
it.
is fun, dude. It's like around the horn, but for Broncos love, and that's what's
Yeah.
so cool about it. Yeah,
That's what they get for canceling that show. They shouldn't have
Yeah.
canceled it. We're taking over, guys.
they canceled
We're
it because they
doing
saw
it.
you coming. And that's what happened.
They got scared, right?
They got
Exactly
scared.
right.
Yeah, they saw Mark and Kodiak on there.
Yeah,
We're
somebody
out.
mentioned.
We're out.
Great app, great app.
Somebody mentioned Efton Chisholm. I think Denver Trap. David Talks Broncos is big on him. That dude he's good. He's a little Cooper Cup. He's good. But yeah, Mike, look, so we got a little trivia book back here.
Oh shit!
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quiz you.
Don't quit. I told you when you came on the show. I don't know it. I just ask it.
Now I don't have a points thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Just
is
gonna
there
make
a
me look
certain
bad.
is there a certain topic that y'all want to go over? We have a whole bunch. I haven't even used these books that much yet.
Let's just do what Mike does. Stack A versus
Stack
stack
it.
B.
Just throw them up.
Let's do it. All right.
Get your note cards.
Let's see what a good one is. Oh, these are all easy. Hold on.
See, that's the thing, right? They're easy when you're looking at them, and then I ask easy ones, and people
give
don't.
me
Yeah.
know 'em.
Go easy.
Well, let me get my buzzer here. I might need a buzzer. We get real. Who
Oh,
won
this
your
is
match. Didn't Kodiak win? Kodiak win?
I did. I beat Mark
that
on
why-
his
is that
anniversary,
why you're
man. I
doing
should have
it?
denied that win, man.
Nah, you're
It
good.
was his
You're
anniversary.
good. Cody, I whooped my ass.
That's the secret.
He did.
There's no winner, no loser on the show.
That's right. All right. Who is the only special teams player to have racked up 15 years of service for the Broncos?
Oh, that's an old player. That's man, this is like a 70s player, isn't it, Marky?
No.
No? Then I don't know.
Read it again.
Oh, Jason Elam.
There you go, Jason
Oh,
Elam.
shit. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. I was
Yeah, I know.
thinking about we had the one returner that
Darian Gordon, you're talking about?
that was huge. No, it wasn't Darian Gordon. I was thinking of somebody before him too, but that's all right. We got
Yeah.
it. We got Elam. It's is
Should be
it,
in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
He should be.
Mr. Automatic.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but when you asked that, my first guess was going to be like Eddie Royal, even though he was on the team for like 2 years.
2 years and traded. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Cutler's boy there for a little bit.
That one game against the
Yeah,
Chargers, he
Was it
exploded.
the Chargers?
Yeah. And just owned them.
Oh, and I think they set a rookie or a record for that
They
game,
did.
like 12 receptions or something like
Yeah.
that, or something crazy. Like, yeah.
And then in the press conference, Jay Cutler, they tried to pretend like, oh, well, our defense was something was up and da da da. And Jay Cutler goes, here's what it was up. Eddie Royal got open every single time, and I threw it to him. That's what happened. Oh,
Good big Daniels.
shit. Yeah.
Just tore that team apart. Is that all you had, Marky? It was just the one? Does that mean
I have a
one?
couple. I have a couple more, but Mark Baker put this in the chat. So he said the pros and cons of free agent wide receiver Elijah Moore. I talked about this a little bit. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on Elijah Moore, but I can.
I do based on what I saw from you. I would be all for it. Right? You were the one that was kind of pushing that a few weeks ago,
Yeah,
Mark. Is that right?
Yeah, I
Or-
thought
or-
I thought as a decent free agent option. Like I know some people were talking, they wanted Keenan Allen. There was Stephon Diggs. I wasn't a fan of. There was somebody else too. But Elijah Moore is a really good slot receiver. Super talented. Like, he's a second-round pick. But the fact that he was traded already once in his career and he hasn't been signed yet, there's got to be a reason for that. But I will say he's buttery smooth, man. Like, he's pretty underrated player.
He might be somebody after the draft or towards the season.
Yeah.
Could be like a Reynolds type signing, when he comes down off of whatever he wants, and we're still looking for that vet. I'd be for bringing him in and doing a try it out kind of deal.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's a different style of receiver than like what we have as a pure like slot inside guy. It's still really young. He's only like 24, 25 years old.
Oh wow.
So
he must have injury issues then or something, right?
yeah.
Well, he had locker room issues because remember he got forced out of the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be completely honest, I thought Elijah Moore was just before this year. I thought he was just some total scrub that had a nice 5-game stretch of his rookie year. That being said, he did show some nice things this past year. That being said, I mean, there's a reason he hasn't been signed yet. I mean, guys like Simi Fehoko and Jalen Reagor have been signed. So, I mean, the market for Elijah Moore must not be very high. But
who's been throwing him the ball?
Yeah, good point.
What kind of offenses has he been in? So
I mean, yeah,
there's got to be some of that too.
Yeah, it was Zach Wilson, Deshaun Watson after the massage game.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco a little bit.
Not the best situation for
What
him.
we've learned is
Dorian
Deshaun
Thompson
Watson,
Robinson.
Deshaun Watson needs those massages, is what we've learned.
Yeah,
Without
shit.
Apparently,
him.
because that's a great point. Like, I can't do shit without a good run
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
I feel like
tense.
if you see a player, specifically a quarterback, really take that leap, look into his massage history.
That's right.
That might be what it is. All right, here's a Terrell Davis one for y'all. All right. So, Terrell Davis started his college football career with which small California school?
I think it was like he's from San Diego, but was it Long Beach or was it San Diego? Long Beach.
Nice, dude. Long Beach State. That was good, man. I had no idea.
That's a good get.
And the program folded. That's why he went to Georgia. Because he didn't need to just transfer. Like
That's right. It went
folded.
under. Yeah, it went under.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
That's a great
Dude,
point.
it was like in the cards for him to like be a Hall of Famer. I mean, you think about all the things that he had to overcome. Like, he was gonna quit football and then he lay somebody out in a preseason game, and it was crazy.
What's crazy is, okay, so he goes to Long Beach State, never would have made the NFL there. They fold. He goes to Georgia, has like a pretty good season, doesn't like the coach, then gets hurt. So that's why he goes in the 6th round. Completely rips it up for 5 years for us, then gets hurt again, and then goes to the Hall of Fame. He literally played football for like 5.5 years and went to the Hall of Fame. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, if he wasn't a Bronco, it would have been a real borderline case, for me for the Hall of Fame. But what he did in the postseason,
That's what
for
it is.
for us is just, that was an amazing run.
He ran for over 2,000 yards in the postseason in 8 games.
It's unstoppable.
Yeah. Well, it was like 160 yards a game or something. Yeah, 140, 160 yards a game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All you need to know about him is when he got that concussion against the Packers in the first Super Bowl, and they were all on the sideline. Eugene Robinson and all those guys were like saying, they're going to take Davis out and he's going to find. And like they were like that's all they were worried about was Terrell Davis. And he came back in and still, 3 touchdowns won it.
Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
And then Shanahan was like,
Yeah, you don't need to see for this play.
yeah. But if you're not in there, they know we ain't gonna run it. You're like, oh damn, just like that. That's crazy.
Shanahan.
Now it's like
absolutely
a running back. A running back runs like 2 plays and then they tap out. It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Very
There's
few
so many
bell cows left in the NFL these days, man.
And people forget too, like in that first Super Bowl, the AFC hadn't won a Super Bowl in like 12 years.
13 years.
Yeah, 13 years. So, and we were 13.5-point underdogs. Like all the stuff leading up to that Super Bowl, and everyone was like, oh, well, Denver's not going to be able to run it because, they got Gilbert Brown and Reggie White and all these people, and didn't matter. You took them out for a whole quarter, didn't matter. ran all
Do
over.
you remember Gilbert Brown in the second half? He's
Oh,
standing
couldn't
on the
even get up.
sideline
Couldn't
with his
even get
hands.
And I love the
Just dying.
sideline footage where like the coaches were like, Gilbert's having a hard time getting up.
Yeah.
And Mike's
They-
like, Mike
this is
Shanahan's
the
like, ooh, here we
he
go.
had him. He had him right where he wanted him.
Yep, exactly.
That was crazy, man.
Legendary. That was such
That was
a
a
good
great day.
Super Bowl. Yep, best day ever.
It was. All right. Which
Kodiak
state?
wasn't alive.
Yeah, I wasn't alive.
Well, you weren't alive for this one either. I don't think. Which state was Super Bowl 33 hosted in?
Oh, Miami.
We played in San Diego and in Miami. Those are two beautiful places to have Super Bowl. And
Yeah,
then
my
San
parents-
Francisco we won.
My parents were there when they were pregnant with my sister.
Wow.
Really, that's awesome.
I thought we were going to be screwed for that because we were playing Atlanta, and since Georgia's like one state over, I was like, oh, it's going to be like 90%
Like a home
Atlanta
game?
fans. Yeah, like a home game. And then they said it was pretty 50-50, so I was like, oh, nice.
But, that year, I went to that stadium and watched Elway and Marino play.
The first one, the regular season game. or
We
the
got
playoff game?
we got beat.
Yeah, the
No,
regular
it was
season game.
in the regular season game, and it was so hot. Oh my! You would not believe the heat. And yeah, it wasn't pretty, but yeah, I mean, we got last laugh, but yeah, in
We
that
did.
stadium, man,
And
that was not good.
they wanted to beat the crap out of Miami because of that game. In the playoffs, they were like, "We are going to destroy them,"
Just
and they
smoke
did.
them. Yeah. Yeah. Good times, man. Let's go. Gotta get back to that. For
It
sure,
was.
Get back to that.
I think we're on our way, man. I hope so, at least.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We gonna take a
hope so.
running. We gonna take a running back in the first, or did we already figure that out that we're not? Or did I miss that conversation? I had that conversation tonight with some people.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. I tried to. I think I was in the comments a little bit, kind of
Yeah, you were.
saying how we shouldn't. No, nothing's changed for me, man. I don't think we should.
Right.
We talked about a situation that would be okay. Like I would be okay with it. I know the rest of the guys would be. Is if we traded back, accumulated like a third rounder, like we traded back to 28 or something, and then you take a running back, but you got like an additional third from it. That point, it would at least to me it would make more sense because it's like, all right, now you've accumulated more value and then you can fill your need there. But I just can't talk myself into a running back in round one. Like I said, I wouldn't be mad. It just wouldn't be my first choice.
What did you get talked into Bo Nix at 12 last year?
I got
I'm just
put
asking
onto
the question.
I got put onto the Bo Nix train from Jeremy here. Jeremy was like the first person in Broncos country, I don't care what it is, that was in on Bo Nix.
That's my guy.
And
right
then
there.
by January of last year or February, I was all in. I said, "Yep, Bo Nix is the guy that I want." So I was. I didn't care. I didn't care that he was a sixth quarterback. I thought it was a good fit.
I was giving Nick Kendall a hard time because he was like Bo Nix, second round guy, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And day of, I just felt it. I knew it. I was like, Sean Payton and I are like simpatico with this. I know he wants him. I tweeted out to Nick, or I didn't even tweet out to Nick. I just said it. I said, Bo Nix at 12 or earlier, as long as the Broncos don't get jumped for him. And then Nick went on and was like, want to bet? And I was like, I don't bet on this thing. And if I did, we wouldn't do it. But it's going to happen. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And luckily it worked out.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, Nick was not on board.
No, so
Zach
everybody
Seeger wasn't on board. There was a bunch of. I kept track.
Me too.
I got a
I got those too.
spreadsheet. I got a spreadsheet on everybody. Didn't want to.
Yeah, no, I was.
'Cause I'm
I was.
petty.
No,
I was all in because I feel like if you're gonna swing and a miss, you do so on a quarterback and you continue to repeat the process until you don't miss.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. Nada.
Yeah, it always
Like,
drove
you're
me
just
crazy.
worthless.
Last year, everybody saying build from the inside, then get your quarterback later. And it's my thing's always been like you can just go buy one whenever you want one. No, you have
Yeah.
to grab him when you can. And if he's not it, grab another one. Just keep
Yeah.
shooting. You
It's like,
can't-
did we not try that
can't
for
skip
10
over.
years?
Yeah,
Isn't
we
that what
did.
we were doing for 10 years?
We did.
And it wasn't even the fact that it was like, we just need a quarterback, so pick one. It was like, no, the right guy
Of course,
it should be there. So that was like, I felt like if we don't take it now, I don't know when we're going to be picking top 3 ever again. Like that's
Yeah, we were very fortunate that Sean pulled the trigger on that. Stuck with his gut and didn't listen to anybody.
Yeah, for sure. And he played games to try to make sure that he solidified it, which was and he was very proud of that too.
But you guys don't buy into the running game's a young quarterback's best friend, huh? You're rather spend your money somewhere else, or you just honestly think we can get like Trevion Henderson in the late first, second round.
Yeah, I think we should I think we should draft 2 running backs. I just feel like doing so in the better value rounds, the second and the third, like the drop off between what I've deemed to be the first round running backs and the second, third round running backs isn't as significant as the drop off in maybe other positions.
So you don't think there's that guy that we're going to miss out on? You think there's 3 guys or whatever that could get the job done?
Yeah, or especially like a combination.
Well, see, that makes sense to me. But the guys that are like, no, screw that, just take a tackle, and then at 51, see who's left, and it's like, well, you might get shit left at 51. You don't know how the draft's going to go. You might need to be a little bit higher than that, and that's what scares me, honestly. Yeah. So
it just depends on who you want. Like, if you are dead set on Henderson and like that's got to be your guy, then maybe just trade back a couple of spots. But I'm personally like Genty. I'm 100% in. So it's like that's the one running back. Like, I don't need convincing. Like, yeah, do it. If it's Hampton, I'm like I can be talked into because I think he's like, and a lot of people that I listen to and I respect, they all really like Hampton. So I'm like, all right, I can be talked into that. But like we just said before you got jumped on, those guys are only like most likely going to be on your team for 4 to 5 years. And to spend a top 20 pick on a guy who's probably only going to be here for 4 to 5 years, it's not good business. Like I would rather do Colson Loveland or an Mbuka or somebody like that who like probably will be on your team for 10 years if they work out. So that's where
And I agree with that, but the caveat or the flip side of that is, running backs could be having a renaissance. They could be getting a lot more expensive if you get a cost-controlled running back. And then when he's getting up in years, you let somebody else spend all that money on him and you draft another one. So there's a flip side to it too. It's definitely not the preferable way to go, but I would prefer to get a running back like Henderson, the one that Sean wants. You guys have to know that he's got 1 or 2 of them that he wants.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think us trading up.
As long as he gets them, I'm happy. I don't care.
Yeah, I think us trading up in the second round is a big possibility. That's something we talked about. And another interesting thing too is like in 2011 the draft, the New Orleans Saints they were picking at 24 that year, and they took Cam Jordan, and then they traded a future first rounder to trade up to 28 to get Mark Ingram. Now, I wouldn't trade a future first rounder, but like he's kind of shown that he did that. I mean, it's obviously a different GM. He's a different coach now, but that's interesting because like he clearly liked both of those guys in that draft, and he went up and got them. So that could be a possibility too. Maybe we trade back a little bit. Maybe we take somebody at 20, trade back into 28. I don't know, but that would be cool. But
that would.
Yeah,
that's always the thing with him that we just got to remember is like. He does not trade back. So we're always like, oh, just trade back. He's like, well, he's never done it.
I know that is crazy. That is actually really wild that he's never done it.
That's because he knows who he wants before the draft, and he's so scared. He's got that fear of missing out thing going on that he's got to have his guy. Like I honestly think he would draft 3 people in this draft if he could get all 3 of his favorites and fuck the rest of them. I think he would do that.
That makes sense.
Or George wants 12 picks. Yeah. He doesn't care who they are as long as there's a couple corners in there. And then,
exactly.
And then, Sean's like, screw that. Just give me that guy, and that guy, and you can do whatever you want with the rest of them.
Yeah, no, the not trading back thing, that tracks because now I think about the core guys on our team that we've drafted recently. We traded up for Marvin Mims. We traded up for Riley Moss. Last year, we traded up for Troy Franklin. So, there's been a handful of times over the past few years where we've like traded up. So that makes sense.
He goes and gets them.
Yeah, Sean Payton. He follows the moniker of if a guy is your guy, then get your guy. Yeah. I don't think he's too concerned about like positional value or anything like that, even though he still has trends that he falls back on throughout his career. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys knew this, he's never used higher than the 95th overall pick on a tight end. Don't know if you guys knew that or not.
I did know that.
Yeah,
I did see that you put that in one of your videos. That's interesting too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know. It's like how much of historical context can you look at too, right? And say this is legit, or it's like just because he's never traded back, it doesn't mean that he won't. But that's something that I feel like you can kind of be like, that's just not in his nature, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like with tight ends, or he took a running back in the first round twice. It's like it could just be a year by year thing. So that's fascinating. But yeah, I mean, you're right, trading back. But then George Payton likes to trade back. So where do they
He wants
find
the
that?
picks. He wants the picks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, Sean's got whatever it is, 15 years, however long he's been around. So you certainly can add some. I mean, there's definitely weight to that, right? Because
Yeah.
he's been around so long, it's not a one-off. So there's definitely a pattern there. But yeah, it doesn't mean never.
Yep.
My favorite thing to do is to watch the body language in the press conference after the draft, because you can tell almost every single time if it was really their guy or if they're just saying that they got everybody on. Remember John Elway? Oh, luckily everybody we wanted was there every single year. But
Of course.
like Sean Payton was bursting at the seams when he drafted Bo Nix, and he was like bragging about how he tricked everybody, and this is the moment I knew, and da 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 da. So after this draft, you can just watch the body language, and if he got his actual guy, well, we'll know if he trades up for somebody that's clearly they got his guy, but just the other guys, they're gonna say that every single time, but you can almost always tell if they're like they settled for somebody or if this was their person. So that I just that always tells you a lot.
Yeah. My favorite is like when they take, like I think they took Troy Franklin in the 4th last year, and they're like, we were thrilled because we had like a 2nd round grade on him. And it's like, well, then why didn't you take him, earlier, in 3rd round?
Payton. Sean Payton's so full of shit.
Yeah, it's like,
Look how
really?
smart
So
I am.
you passed on him 4 times,
Yeah.
and then you
We're
took
so
him,
smart.
and yeah.
No,
Well,
they
we
had
didn't
us-
have. Well, we to be fair to that, we didn't have a 3rd, and he said they also had a 2nd round grade on Jonah Ellis, which I think they did, obviously, and so it could have been. I mean, that could be legit.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And they did
I'm
trade
not-
up.
That was a bad example because we didn't necessarily have 2nd, but there was another one. I don't think it was necessarily even with Sean, but coaches do it all the time. They're like, we really threw. We had like we had a 1st round grade on him, and he was like their 4th round pick. They drafted 3 guys before. Like, really? So what about those guys? Yeah, it's just like,
No, for sure.
come on, guys. You didn't even have to say that. Just say we really liked him. We were happy he was there. But it could be. I mean, because it's so different this year too. Because like I feel like Sean Payton's actually genuinely happy with this roster. Like I feel like now he feels like we're pretty complete. We're 1 or 2 pieces away, so he could do a Cameron Jordan, Mark Ingram type of a draft too. So we'll see. What were you saying,
Yeah.
Mike?
I've seen this. Mark Baker said, "Did you see my trivia question? Was that Super Bowl QB drafted in the 7th round that played for a Denver head coach? Is that
Yeah.
your trivia
Yeah, that was the question, I guess. And then he said Mr. Shotgun and Mr. Sniper. Did he win a Super Bowl, or was
Super Bowl
he just?
QB drafted in 7th round and played for a Denver head
So-
coach.
I think I've got this one. I'm gonna go Trevor Siemian.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
But that's the only one I can think of.
yeah,
Or they? I mean,
Oh, I
that's a
see what
pretty
he's saying.
That's a technicality Super Bowl QB.
I see what
though.
he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
That's true though.
Is it?
But
Was
he's
it
not. But he's going to
starting
go to the
Super
Super Bowl.
Bowl? He was on the team.
He was on the team.
No,
Yeah.
I thought we drafted him in 2016.
No, he
Oh.
was on the team in the year
Oh,
before.
that's right. We drafted him in 2015. He had a year to learn from Peyton.
Okay, you're correct, Cody.
Yeah,
Well
Wait,
done,
what's the-
Cody.
what's
it was him and Chad Kelly. That I think the 2 7th rounders. I was like, Chad Kelly wasn't on there.
No.
When did we draft Jeff Lewis? Remember, he was supposed to be like that guy for after Elway, and then didn't go anywhere. Like, 'cause
Well,
he-
it was Greasy, and then it was
yeah. Well, it was
Lewis.
Bubby Brewster, but it was Lewis, and then
It
we
had to
drafted
be-
Greasy the next year.
Oh, was it Lewis before?
Yeah, because he was on the Super Bowl teams when we won.
Okay.
And Greasy
What
was-
round
then,
was Lewis in?
That's what I'm asking. I don't remember.
Oh. God, he couldn't
Remember,
have been too
I
high.
remember Bradley Van Pelt. Everyone was all pumped up about Bradley Van Pelt.
Well, nobody loves their backup quarterbacks more than the Broncos. So.
Mhm.
What was
Yeah.
the quarterback that went to? We wanted him for the practice squad, and then he went to like Minnesota, and everybody
Sloter?
still loves him.
Sloter.
Oh, Sloter.
Sloter, thank you.
Oh God, I remember everybody was hyped because he went to UNC Greeley, right? And then
Yeah.
he like balled out in the preseason. Then we cut him, and everyone was like, wow, sad.
Yeah, people were genuinely mad about that. I'm like, seriously, guys?
yeah.
Like,
Guy
Really?
was gonna be the next one, man.
Yep.
So was
Yeah,
Chad
love
Kelly.
so is Chad Kelly.
Couldn't stay off the synthetic weed and the Woody costumes. Couldn't do it.
You know what's funny?
He
I know
got-
somebody who was at that
he got-
party.
He
I know
got beat. Oh, did you?
Yeah, I know somebody. She was the bartender that I used to work with. She was actually at that party where Chad Kelly like did that.
That's so funny.
Jeff Lewis was selected by the Denver Broncos in the 4th round, 1996.
Okay.
Good call.
It's so crazy how much the draft has changed.
Oh, I know.
Like even just the way that, you know, the guy, like teams evaluate guys. It's like you look in the past and like they would take a guard second overall.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that right? Like the guy that was in the Elway draft.
Yeah, it was Mark
Right, 'cause
Herman. He was 5th
yeah.
overall, and we traded.
Didn't we took a guard and then traded him?
Yeah, and I think that dude ended up being like a 7-time Pro Bowler too. He was actually really good, but
No, yeah, but it's like you never see a guard going that early no more. Like it just doesn't. It never happens. But back then they were like, we don't care. We'll take a kicker in the second round if he's kicking
That's
it good.
because positional value didn't mean shit back then, but now everybody got smart, including you guys.
Yeah.
Now you guys understand all that. But back
Yeah.
then, man, it was all BPA or team need. Like we need a guard, we'll take the first one. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like they didn't even think, well, we can get him in the 3rd. They're like, no, we'll get him right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Tagliabue, I think it was pre-Tagliabue, whoever the commissioner was, he was like, you guys want to like broadcast the draft? Why would you want to do that?
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
It was 1980. 1980, I think, was the first year they.
And now it gets more viewers than the freaking World Series.
Then everything except like the Super Bowl and stuff.
Yeah.
Pete Rose.
It's
Crazy.
yeah, it's great. Oh, Roselle, who called that? Was that you?
Yeah,
John. Yeah. Points for you. There you go.
that's my first point.
You're gonna be deadly if you ever come on the show. You know all this shit.
Then I'll be like, I'll build it up in my head, and then I'll totally choke. Watch.
Yeah, it's different when you're on. I'm sure.
Exactly.
It is. It is crazy. It's like when you like watching. Like I don't know if you guys watch the game show The Wall. Really good.
Oh, no.
But it's like, oh man, these guys are so stupid. But then you're like, I'm sure if you're on the show, probably aren't thinking as clearly as you are when you're laying in bed. So
exactly.
these kinds of things happen. It's happened to me all the time. The second I press record, like, and I'm talking about something, I always just blank on people's names.
Names.
Always.
You
It's
don't
the-
know names. Speaking
It's
of
so
that,
weird.
who was the last first-round running back the Broncos took?
No, Sean Moreno.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, Sean.
I've been diving into so much random running back stuff. So I'm just like I've just happened to stumble across this. So
Hall
yeah.
of Fame tear ducts. That guy had. Remember that?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All I ever,
Sideline,
all
yeah.
I ever think
unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. Like
Good old no
that's ridiculous. The how he was able to get like a stream like that, and the fact they had it in slow motion made it even look more legit. It was crazy.
I've never seen anything like that. Like in anybody
No.
I've ever seen. That's it's so
I
insane.
didn't know it's possible to have that much tear in your body.
Seriously.
Like, where did
You
you
guys
store that?
So,
Yeah.
do you guys remember the game like a week before that against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football where you ran for like 250 yards? We went to overtime. So,
On Sunday Night Football.
well, yeah. So that game was against the Chiefs. I think week like 14 of the 2013 year, because that was the game where Eric Decker had like 4 touchdowns. And then I remember the week before that, Sean Moreno ran for like 250 yards on the ground against the Patriots, and we ended up blowing the game. Do you guys remember that?
I do. I remember him going for 250, and I don't remember what we did to blow the game, but I do remember losing. It was something pretty significant.
So we were up 24-0 at halftime, and then the Patriots stormed all the way back. We were able to take it to overtime, and then we had like a muff punt in overtime.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's
I remember- I do
right.
remember
Oh
that.
my God. I
think
do
I
remember
blocked
that.
it
Was
out.
brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I remember watching that with my grandparents on the couch in St. Louis, and they were so tired, and I was just like, no, we need to stay up for
That
all
was in 2013. Was that in 2013 or 2012?
Yeah, that was 2013.
Had to be.
Making your grandparents stay up is elite. That's
Oh, yeah.
like you're
yeah.
not going to bed, Grandma.
I know. That was Thanksgiving break. I was like, no, we're not going to bed yet.
Damn.
I hated the Patriots so much, dude. I've never had so much angst towards a team.
Tom Brady, the only team he doesn't have a better than 500 record against.
Like as amazing as Super Bowl 50 was, winning that AFC Championship game was the most satisfying for me. Like
As
I remember,
long-
I felt more like ecstatic after that game, and I was exhausted. I felt like I played in the game. It's crazy.
As long as we won the Super Bowl, that became the better game. But if we would have blown the Super Bowl, you wouldn't have given a crap about the AFC Championship. But that game
Yeah.
was
No,
so
for sure.
satisfying. And
Yeah.
it was awesome for like Aqib Talib and Chris Harris and No Fly Zone. That was like, man, they just
But it was one of those where I was like, dude, it killed my Brady narrative. For the longest time, I kept saying like Brady was product of the system, blah 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 blah. But that game, I was like, dude, we were killing the guy. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback get hit like that, and he would still just get up and make plays. It was crazy.
Wait,
Yeah.
now which
Dude is insane.
was that the one where they had the 2-point conversion that they could have got?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right to Gronk that didn't get, and then the other one was the snow game where CJ took it
Yep,
in
we beat 'em
overtime and won.
twice.
Okay, yeah, that
But
was oh, man,
that
so
was a
good.
good game. And
It's a
then
great
we
game.
beat him in the
Osweiler.
we beat him in the championship game in 2013 too. That was when we knocked out Aqib Talib. Actually, it was Wes Welker. It was kind of a dirty play.
Oh, that's
But we
right.
we beat them then, and it was crazy because their whole team was hurt. I mean, they had their running back was somebody I've never even heard of until that game. But yeah, we ended up beating them then. We definitely had a really good playoff record, especially against Brady. I mean, even like in 2005 when Champ had that pick that should have probably been a touchback, but we beat him in that game. So we've always had him in the playoffs, which is good. But I still couldn't stand that team.
Mike Shanahan owned Bill Belichick. I don't know what
He
it
did.
was. He just
Yeah.
owned
he did.
him. And then other guys, he would like overthink it. I think Mike
Yeah.
Shanahan was so smart and Bill Belichick was so smart that Mike Shanahan like knew how levels of depth like Bill Belichick was going to go to, and he just went to the next one, and then he overdid it for regular coaches or something because he would blow every like. Remember like what got him fired is he kept blowing. We needed like one win the last month of the season, like for the last 3 years, and then we'd collapse every single
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
He-
that's
he-
called
he-
paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, just-
Yeah,
Yeah.
he definitely got ahead of the I feel like he just got too in his head and like too cocky with a lot of things that he did. Towards
Should
the
be-
end of his tenure. But
Should
it's
be in the Hall of
crazy.
Fame, though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we don't talk about it. You know how close he was to coming back and being the head coach again.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
then
didn't Joe Ellis block it because like
Joe Ellis blocked
hated the Shanahan family.
hater,
Like I remember when we were, I remember we were gonna fire Vance Joseph, make him one and done, right? And then we were gonna try to get Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, and Kirk Cousins because he was available that season, right?
Yep.
And we wanted to hire Kyle Shanahan instead of Vance. And Joe Ellis was like, "I'll approve it under the condition that Mike Shanahan can never come in the building." Like, imagine you're telling your head coach, "Your father can't come in the building." He's like, "What?" So they ended up going with Vance. Joe Ellis was awful. He was like,
Terrible.
yeah. I hate everything about that guy.
Well, Ellis is the one that convinced Pat Bowlen to fire Mike Shanahan. So from there on, it was like bad blood forever. And I don't know what Pat was thinking. I get, they were collapsing, whatever, but that's right when we got Cutler, and it was right when Cutler was like coming on. So it just
Yeah.
felt like, what are you doing firing Mike Shanahan now? Like, just give him one more
It was the
season.
worst time.
The worst.
Yeah. Mike, I'm curious, man. What do you want to see the Broncos stadium at? Do you want to see it move? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have thoughts. I would like to. I would love to see them keep it where it is. I just don't know how they can do it because what they want to do is really ambitious. They don't just want a big new stadium. They want a whole like theme park football Broncos place, with shops and restaurants and stores and all that shit. Like picture Disney World for Broncos, right? They can't do that there unless they tear. And now there's like multifamily homes and stuff all around. Like, I don't know how they can do it. So since they're going to move it, whether they go to the airport or to wherever, I that's where my feelings end. They can go wherever they want, build whatever they want. I think for people that travel, the airport area would be nice, but for the locals, that would be Lone Tree or whatever, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the only feeling.
I got some, I think pretty decent info, I guess it would say, from like a friend that's colleague, works for a huge sponsor for the Broncos, and they wanted in Lone Trees what I heard. Like I said, I'm not like Adam Schefter, but it was funny because one of the main reasons, and I'm glad that Mark brought this up, is that because there's so much fans that travel from the South, from the Springs, it would be very convenient for them to have it there. So that would make a lot of sense. And also you still have the, like in Aurora would be like decently close to me, but you don't really get the backdrop of like the mountains, And so for games and stuff,
Yeah, you hate to lose
I
that.
feel like, you hate to lose that. So with Lone Tree, at least you still have that there too. So I feel like Lone Tree makes a lot. I don't want to see it in Denver though. I think downtown is such a shit show.
I guess it's gotten so much worse too, that maybe it would just be best, but to get it out of there.
Yeah, there's just always traffic, man.
I think the
Always.
bigger thing for me is the whole open air versus the, I know they're not going to do a dome, but maybe a retractable roof or, just a full-time open air. I think that's the debate for me that I care more about.
Yeah.
As long as I just don't want a dome there. I just, it just needs to be open, or at least, at very least, have the ability to be open, right? So, where they put it, I don't live in Boulder anymore, so I don't really care.
Andrew
Whatever you
Mason
guys
was
want.
talking. Andrew Mason was talking about like how they have it in Minnesota. I've never been to the stadium, but I guess it's not a retractable roof, but they can open like the sides to get like wind airflow in, and then open some things up. And that's like the new school way of doing it. Because I think retractable roofs are kind of like, I don't know. I guess they're kind of done or like outdated, or they're kind of a pain in the ass. But I definitely think we should get a dome. I know everyone's always like football should be played outside in the elements, and it's easy to say that, but on a freezing cold day, if you're at the game and you're nice and toasty, it's gonna feel really nice, man.
I think something like that would be nice for the fans, but I do think snow games and stuff like that are important.
I like to watch it.
I just miss it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I want to sit in the snow. I've done it.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it, but I mean, there's something to be said about a nice snow game, in December or whatever, and the Broncos are playing. But I don't know. It's not big on my radar. It's not as big as who we're taking in the draft and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna go see them wherever they are. So
yeah, and you'd like to think that like the cold weather could be an advantage, but it seems like every time we have a playoff game in Denver, it's like 62 degrees and sunny, and it's beautiful.
That's true.
Except against the Ravens.
So the Ravens.
Except against the Ravens.
Gosh.
Like the 1 year where we don't, and against the one team that's like used to playing outside too. Manning couldn't even like feel his fingers.
We say this, and then fucking Miami is going to get good again in 2 years, and they're going to come up in the AFC Championship game, and it's we're going to have like 5 inches of snow on the ground. We're going to win that game, and we're going to be happy that it was open.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But did I say 2 years? That's probably not enough time to build a stadium. 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah, Miami, man, they're always a fun team that you like to play if it's a little cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like dome teams don't seem to like do well traveling, playoffs, cold weather, all that. So it's like I don't want to make us soft, but yeah,
It's crazy. It is true. Like it totally is true. And I think there's a lot of data backing it up even.
It's like us playing early games on the East Coast. It just never works out for us.
Yeah.
Unless we like stay in West Virginia for a week, then it's fine.
It's true. Yeah.
Playing in a monsoon.
But here's the thing: it's like it's the WalMarts with like, or the Penner and all those guys. Like they infinite money. They're gonna want a stadium that they can generate income year
Super
round,
Bowl and all that stuff. And
get Super Bowls,
concerts.
all that kind of stuff. So from a business standpoint, I just see them. Why wouldn't they do it? Like
I still don't think they'll do a dome though.
you don't think so?
There's going to be a lot of pushback on that. I mean, they certainly could, and you make the exact points why they would, but like Mark said, with those new sort of open up the sides and it's open air.
Yeah, it could be.
But yet it keeps the direct shit off of you, so you can have a cold weather type wintry game. If they can still close it and open it, like Arizona's kind of messed up, right? They're the ones that like literally opens all the way out, don't they?
Yeah.
Or do they just have the field that slides out? Anyway, like like some of those retractable roofs kind of don't work. Like sometimes they'll be like, well, we were going to open it, but it was broken, or whatever.
Yeah. Like, or it takes like 28 minutes.
Like 3 days, to open it. So
It's like one of
they
those
have to-
soft top convertibles that
they
just
have to-
doesn't close all
they
the
have
way
to-
anymore.
They have to decide like 2 days before whether they're opening it or not. But
Yeah, and
maybe some sort of hybrid open air thing would be doable. I don't know.
Yeah, you talked about like the shutter retractable. I think the one that they have is like in Atlanta, where it like opens like a spiral. But I think they got to do a enclosed stadium that can be open air and like in a
Both.
in a creative way. I mean, because of like all the things that you can bring here, you could have a Super Bowl, you could have all this, but
You know what's another thing that nobody ever talks about is the fact that a lot of concerts and stuff are done at the stadium, and there's where it's at currently. There's a curfew of noise restriction. You throw that crap in Lone Tree or Douglas County, and you can basically say, "Hey, we don't want to abide by that
do
certain
whatever we
things,"
want.
and you can get away with that. So that's another thing. It's just I have a feeling like they're looking at this not just from a Broncos perspective, but year round. So I think it's Team Lone Tree for sure. I just think that's the smartest way. I had my car personally broken into attending a Bronco game downtown in a lot that I thought was secure, and the whole lot got hit. And so it was just like, yeah, this is it's too bad because yeah, I'd like to keep it on Mile High soil, like Mile High Stadium soil. That's sacred ground, but I just have a feeling that's not what they're gonna do.
No, the area around the
it's
stadium.
no
The area around the stadium is kind of a dump too. Like no sugarcoating it. Like what is around the stadium besides like coal trucks and like Meow Wolf and I don't know. It's just I mean at least with Ball Arena and Coors Field, it's possible that if you're downtown, you could find yourselves right next to those places. But if you're by Empower Field on a non-game day, you're in some trouble, man.
Yeah.
It's not great.
yeah, I
Some
mean,
tamales.
and let's face it, like the Avs and Nuggets, while they have great attendance and they got great fans, they kind of have to be in Denver to like ensure a lot of ticket sales and consistent 82 games for each team. The Nuggets could literally, I mean, the Broncos could literally put their stadium in like La Junta, Colorado, and it's going to sell out every single week. So it doesn't have to be downtown like it does with other stadiums. And it's really rare that NFL stadiums are like in downtown areas anymore. I mean, there's a lot of different places. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and they build their own little city around it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the plan.
That is the plan. Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be Lone Tree.
And like I said in the Discord before, I was like, just Parker and Monument and Castle Rock and all those places are so poppin' that I think that seems like if you can get a nice big plot that you can do Broncos World or whatever, I just think
They should just call it Wally World, dude.
Wally World.
Just
yeah,
call
for
it
sure.
Wally
Wally
World.
World.
I don't
I'm
understand
down
it.
Sorry, folks.
Just buy out the Empower.
Moose out front should have told you.
Exactly.
Just buy out Empower Field at Mile High's naming rights, and name it Wally World at Mile High, and just build an entire. You can build a freaking theme park around it if you wanted to. Just call it Wally World.
That's what they're gonna do. Something like it.
I think the owners, they're going to put as much money as they possibly can into it because, I mean, all three of us and, the Broncos fan base, we didn't spend $4.5 billion to acquire this team. So they are going to try to do everything they can to maximize their profit. And, part of that, what did the Raiders do? Well, they went from the 30th most valuable franchise in the NFL to a new city. And granted, we're not doing that anytime soon, but they built their sixth stadium and they make $60 million a year just based off of other events at Allegiant Stadium. So, you build a sixth stadium, you can have WrestleMania, you can have the Final Four that just happened. Yeah, that's another big part of it is I feel like this ownership group is going to want to have all that cool stuff if they do decide or when they do decide to build a new stadium too. And currently you can't have that. You can't have that in Power Field because could you imagine them with the weather that's been outside the past few days, them having the Final Four here?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Have you guys been to Allegiant Stadium?
I was about to ask that.
Yeah, I've been 5 times. I used to live in Vegas.
Wow.
Is it nice? Because
Friggin'
I've heard
sick.
it wasn't that great.
It's pretty sick.
Is
It looks like a Roomba, though. It looks exactly like a Roomba.
I think it looks like a giant hockey puck.
Yeah.
But it's not. But the real one, I haven't gone to SoFi Stadium, but my brother-in-law went, and he said SoFi Stadium was out of this world. He's like, I've never seen anything like it. And there's something cool about being like, yeah, we got the most badass stadium,
I think we're gonna. I think
'Cause
we're
our
gonna have
stadium
the most
sucks,
badass-
dude.
Yeah, we're gonna have the
Our
best.
stadium
We're gonna
is
have
so
the best.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's crazy is like it's not really even that old. It's just that
It's
they
like
didn't.
24 years old or something.
I mean,
Isn't it?
It's as old as me.
it's 2001.
That is crazy.
2000? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, 20.
The thing about it is like, I mean, it's
that
still a
shouldn't be
respectable stadium,
But
but
I'm just thinking of,
you
like,
see what the hell
Arrowhead or-
everything else has, and you're like, whoa. Like even the Minnesota stadium is badass, dude. It's really nice.
I was surprised when we built that stadium that we didn't go way more like high tech, but I think Bolin was almost like there was a lot of pushback on tearing the old Mile High down, that they were just like, oh, we'll make it similar. And I don't know.
There
I think
was
if you're
there
gonna
was
build,
some of that.
yeah, if you build like a new stadium, then build a new stadium, like go state of the art.
Yeah, us old
Yeah.
heads. The old heads like me didn't want Mile High Stadium torn down. We loved it. We loved the
Yeah.
rickety south stands. We loved the noise. We loved everything about it. We didn't care. And then, when they did it, it was like, all right, whatever. And they tried to, like, keep it familiar or whatever. But it's always been kind of sterile. I mean, that stadium's always been kind of sterile, and it's always been fine. But yeah, it was never like, wow, what a stadium. It just never hit that hard like other places have that I've been, for sure.
I think they were like, we got to keep south stands, we got to keep the same
Right,
like
we gotta do
shape,
this.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I
And
think
maybe
they'll-
that-
I think they're gonna go big here.
I think.
Yeah,
so.
we had that
crazy.
thing from 1948 to 2002. That's crazy.
So
That was a
that sounds like-
60-something-year-old stadium, almost.
Yeah, and
50,
they added
54
to
years.
it a lot, and some of the construction they did, like you could feel that place shake just like walking through there, like before they even started jumping around and like cheering. You could feel it like moving. It was crazy.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
I remember when
It was a
people
good
would
place.
bang their
Oh,
like,
yeah.
feet on the thing, and it would just.
Oh yeah, the whole place would shake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was crazy.
it would move.
I still feel
And
like
it
that
added to
happens
it.
now at Empower Field, but definitely not like Mile High Stadium. But like
no.
even now, like I still
I think it kind of has to, right? I mean, isn't that a part of
yeah, because we
like you
sound
kind of
like
have to have wiggle in it
yeah,
too?
we
Yeah.
sound like horses. Like when everyone's stomping their feet, like it sounds like a bunch of galloping horses. That's why.
Yeah,
He said that I remember Pat Bowlen saying they kept like a lot of the aluminum on the flooring and all that kind of stuff, so it would do that. But like Mike's saying, it's not the same. And I mean, of course, it's not going to be the same. But
And
It was
you know
just
what's crazy?
frozen.
You know what's crazy about it too? So when it was built in 1948, it had a capacity of 18,000. By the
what I'm
time it
saying,
was
they were-
done, it had 76,000. So they just literally were like, would they just piece it out and like, how does it get that much bigger? That's crazy.
they just went to high schools and stole the old wooden bleachers and they just stack them up,
Just
just
stack
bolt
'em
them to
up.
each other. Yeah, that's how it felt in that place sometimes, man.
my
That's
next door
crazy.
neighbors have the seats in their garage right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's almost 1 a.m.,
All right.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
This was so much fun. I was like, you know what? I really have the itch to get on. And then all of a sudden now all four of us are talking. I appreciate it. It's been fun. But I think I'm going to sign off. Y'all can certainly stay on.
I'm head out too, man.
Mike, let me ask you one
Say hi
question.
to you guys. Yeah.
Let me ask you one question before you go. Who would your number one first round pick be if you could pick anybody?
Like a realistic pick?
Yeah, realistic. Yeah, not Travis
Um,
Hunter or something. But
I don't know. Is the real answer? On the show, I might say somebody just for talk, but I don't know. Like I'd like to have Loveland. I'd like to have whatever Agbuka, whatever his name is, and I'd be happy with maybe Henderson, something like that. Like one of those three, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go. Because if Sean has a vision for him, then I'd be happy with it. And then, barring something like that, I don't know, Hunter or whatever his name is, the DT, that's not right, Hunter. Harmon. I'd be happy with that too, I think. Like any of those four, I would be like, let's go.
Yeah, I think at this point we all just want to know, man.
Yeah, I do, but I don't have that guy because I don't like the superstars are probably out of reach. But yeah, there's like any of those four, I would be thrilled with those guys.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hear a complaint out of me. If they take some guy I've never heard of or don't really know, I'd be like, whatever. But
Take a
what about
punter.
you? You guys got one? You guys all have one, and I'm the only one that doesn't have one.
I think no, I agree with you. I think all four I'd like. I mean, choosing one is hard because it's like I feel like every day it changes for me. But
I want all
I'm
4 of them. Actually, I just take all 4 of them.
I'm all in on Emeka Egbuka. I just can't get away from it.
Good.
So that's kind of my guy.
So we share
I don't
one.
know.
That's good. You guys?
How about you, Jeremy? You got one?
I mean, yeah, to me, like, it stacks up where Genty's the dream, Loveland's the hope / Warren, and then Egbuka is like the more realistic. That's where I'm at. And then if it's not him, I could, like I said, I could go with Tet. I want a weapon for Bo. That's the main thing.
I could see
and
Tet,
I could
too.
deal with Hampton. People love Golden. I don't love him as much as some people, but like I still think he's really good. And if we go DL, then it's like, okay, I understand it from like my brain over my heart, but like I just want somebody to be young and grow with Bo and just really go. That's where I'm at. But
It's more
Loveland
fun.
probably is the main guy. I would go Loveland over Egbuka personally, but I'm fine either way.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
All right, so the Philadelphia Eagles, they have shown us the formula to slay.
Here
the
we
Giants.
go. Here we go.
2 different cores over the past 8 years. They took down the Patriots, ruined their three-peat. They took down the Chiefs this year and ruined their three-peat. 2 different coaching staffs, 2 different cores. What was the common denominator? Overinvestment into the trenches. And yes, while we do need improvement everywhere in the skill positions, defensive line, we still have a lot of long-term questions there. You know, Zach Allen probably going to get extended, but what if he doesn't? John Franklin Myers, don't really know what's going to happen with him beyond this year. Only 1 interior defensive lineman under contract beyond 2025. So I think if you were to look ahead and you were to be proactive in filling your needs, I do think that the trenches are a timeless style of football. And if you can go with a guy like Derek Harmon or Kenneth Grant, haven't decided between the 2 which one I really prefer for the Broncos yet. I just think that would just make it way too much sense. And, you know, we got completely run over in a playoff game this past year. We allowed 200 yards on the ground. So the next question for us is how do we get into that upper echelon of AFC teams? And yes, I understand. I'm not worried about our defense against the bottom feeders that come in here. I'm not worried about if we were to make no moves on the defense right now. You know, the Giants, we play them next year. I'm not worried about Tyrone Tracy running all over us. What I am worried about, Derrick Henry gashed us this year. James Cook gashed us this year. How do we improve upon that? We don't let them get anything, and we can let our secondary do all the talking and finally get those teams to third and long. So I do think trenches would just be the best for us.
So what I got out of that is basically you hate fun. Is that what I got out of that?
Well, I thought, listen, if I had a little scoreboard, I would have been hitting the button. That was very well done. But yes, he doesn't like fun. Exactly.
Yeah, he acted like it's not just the 4 of us sitting here. He was putting on, he had his show face on. He definitely brought it. I would have given him all the points.
He's the guy that goes to a car lot and they're like showing him, you know, the fun cars, the sports cars, the convertibles, and he's like, "Give me the Camry." And it's the smart move.
It's the smart
but
move.
it's boring, you know. He's like, "Give me the Camry. I know this is a good car."
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he wasn't driving a Camry.
Hey, what are you guys doing for the draft?
I don't know yet, man. I want to do something fun, but I know I'm going to be watching. But yeah, I was thinking about that. Maybe put something.
So, you guys know Ben at Sports Talk Denver, right? Mm-hmm. Cute little guy, has his little show on every night.
Yeah, he's from
23,000. You know, he's my buddy. I think we're gonna do a live stream. I'm sure a lot of people are, but if we do, and you guys are, or even if you're not, I'm going to send out links to everybody. So just like tonight, I have people coming and going the whole time.
Cool.
And I was thinking if you guys are doing that and these guys are doing that and these guys are doing that, I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to get everybody together and just say, hey, send out the links to everybody. And that way we can duck out and go chime in on your show, because there's a lot of dry time in these draft streams, right?
I love that idea.
And I think the crosstalk stuff would be awesome, where you could bring in, like say Egbuka comes up or whatever, and it's like, hey, I can text somebody and say, hey, you want to come on in 15 minutes and talk about this guy? And then, that kind of stuff, and just kind of have everybody in this one big globe of action. And I'm thinking about just kind of putting that together, see if you guys thought that was a good idea, if that would be interesting too. And then be the same for yours. If you're doing one, then we can pop in on yours and say, hey, what did you think? And you're like, oh, we're psyched over here and blah 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 blah, and then we jet back out and stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be a lot of fun.
I love
Something to
that.
think about.
Yeah, I'll certainly get it out to whomever, and we can all stream it on our channels and stuff too. I think that'd be fun. It'd be like a Manning cast type of format, in a way of like you could bring somebody on. Obviously, it wouldn't be necessarily planned, but I love that. It's like, oh, look who's popping on, what you think, and then it's always different,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
we'll talk about it as it gets closer, but yeah, think about it. Awesome.
Well, that's awesome.
Sweet.
Hey, thanks
All right,
for letting
gents.
me in, boys.
Yeah, no, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
This is a blast. Y'all
Good to see you.
y'all have a great night, man, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good, guys.
All right. See you
All
guys.
right. See you
Later.
later.